still chasing. Is Philadelphia closer after the moves that they made this week? We'll get into that. And what is the deal with Jeremy Swayman? We know he's not going to arbitration. When is that deal going to get done? All that tonight as we're here until 11 o'clock. You can also listen to us on YouTube. I'm in there right now, youtube.com/thesportshub. And you can chat in. I see Christina already in there, Effects in there, Fox guys, you name it. We're here all night long, and you heard it in the audio there. Rafael Devers. It was the Rafaela show last night in New York. Couple of all-stars going deep. We'll get into that coming up in just a little bit as well. But let's just think about it when it comes to the Red Sox, right? When you think back over the years on some good teams, right? Let's just use the championship teams for that matter. You remember certain things, right? 04. You remember there's moments that you can look back at and say, wow, the Alex Rodriguez, Bronson Arroyo thing, that was a signature moment, right? 07, there was a signature moment. Jason Bay comes to the mix, right? There are signature moments that happened. 2013, signature moments. You can mention a bunch of them that year, whether it was Shane Victorino, Mike Napoli, and, of course, the year that David Ortiz had. And then there's memorable moments from 2018, whether it's Chris Sale, whether it's JD Martinez, guys like that, Mookie Betts. There are always things that you can go back to and be like, that was a pivotal part of the year. And I'm telling you right now, the Masataka Yoshida home run from the other night, when the final out, potentially the final out of the game, was a signature moment for the 2024 Boston Red Sox. And why do I say signature moment? It happened on a Friday night, the night after July 4. And people were talking about it on Saturday. I was out and about. I unplugged for an entire weekend. And you know how many people said, hey, man, you see that Yoshida stuff last night? Wow, they won in 12 innings. This team might be good. You know how many times I heard this team might actually be good over the holiday weekend? This is why the Red Sox can't stand pat. And we'll get into the trade deadline and what last night meant and Alex Cora's comments where clearly he does not want to talk about next year because it should be about this team. It should be about these players. And if I haven't said it in the month of June, I'll say it again in the month of July. I think what's going on with the Boston Red Sox right now is about the players, not about the manager. I'm not discounting Alex Cora. There are games you can point to where you can say that guy managed his ass off and helped them manage a win. There's been plenty of that this year. But the more I look at the Red Sox team, it's about the players. And if Cora moves on, yeah, it'll be bad. But you know what? He deserves it. He deserves to go out and get paid like a Craig Counsell and get banked somewhere else and manage a team that wants him, that wants to invest. So I'm kind of over that story. I think it is kind of unfortunate that there's a lame duck coach here. But I think he gets it. I think he sees what's going on here. I think he's now looking at the players. You see Jared Duran, right? You see what a bunch of these guys are doing. O'Neill, I know he struggled of late, but that guy's giving him something this year. Devers had 3 hits last night, 2 RBI, 2 home runs. That's big. Connor Wong, struggled a little bit last night, but is batting over 300 this year. Yoshida's starting to come along, although he's been terrible. Right? This kid Smith out of nowhere gets a couple hits. Rafaela's doing it everywhere. Cutter Crawford gives you 7 innings last night of 4 strikeouts. Their bullpen was flawless. It's about the players. It's about the players. We can talk about Cora. It's going to be a storyline. And speaking of stories, because Skaz, you know I like stories. This Netflix documentary, I'm telling you, you got a lot of angles in this thing. You got the young developing players, some that are all-stars, Tanner Houck and Duran. You got your mainstay player in Rafael Devers, where there was a quote that we'll play you a little bit later, where Alex Cora says he doesn't want to be the face of the Red Sox, but he is. Rafael Devers is on an absolute tear, and he's putting up David Ortiz-like numbers. Yep. For you not watching and not paying attention and following along because you're not investing in the team like the ownership isn't, yes, Rafael Devers is putting up numbers like David Ortiz did at Yankee Stadium, the new Yankee Stadium. All that's real. There is the Alex Cora stuff. There's the ownership stuff. There are 4 different branches that this Netflix documentary is going to be outstanding. How does it finish? How does it finish? Does ownership invest? Or because the market is so bad and that there are only a few teams, and what I mean by bad, this is a time to sell. Red Sox fans don't want to hear it. You know why? Because they're in it. They're one of the teams that are in it. But now, these other teams need to get better. Kansas City, the Yankees in particular, others, they need to get better, and teams are going to sell, and that's exactly what the Red Sox will do unless the players can change their mind over the next couple of weeks. You get the All-Star break, you potentially face some playoff teams, you get the A's coming up, Kansas City, who you're only a game and a half back of. It's there for the taking. But you know what it's going to say? Know what it's going to be the big word from ownership? It's exactly what sports fans around here do when a team's not going to win. Why do it? It was exactly what I said about the Bruins this year. I said they should sell off their pieces because they're not going to win a championship. I said that. They went to Game 6 and lost to the Stanley Cup champions. But should they have invested? They absolutely should have. They should have. So when I look at the Red Sox, I look at guys like Jansen and others that they could sell off and continue to build around this team. I'm at the point now where it's almost better for this young core to experience the playoffs and invest in that. Because if you're going to go with a new manager and it's a new regime, basically, you want these young players to have that playoff experience when the young prospects are ready to go. You want that mix of veteran players that have been, had experience in the playoffs with young players who will ascend. I don't think ownership's going to do it. I think they're going to sell, but the next 2 weeks mean a lot for this Boston Red Sox team and for their future. 617-779-0985. That's the number if you want to jump aboard. We'll tell you about the All-Stars. We'll also tell you about what Rafael Devers is doing and what else did John Henry say? What did he do now? He's already ruined the Celtics, according to some reports. What's he doing to his own team and to maybe even Skaz's favorite sport? Golf. All that. We're here until 11 o'clock tonight. We're back. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
this in a few weeks. They announced the starters already, that it was voted by the fans. And tonight, they're going to announce the rest of the All-Star. And that one is selected by the coaches and your peers, which I think is pretty cool, right? And this year, we're going to have 3 going to Texas. The first one, 1,000 hits in his career. He's been a Silver Slugger. He hates it, but I do believe he's the face of the franchise. Rafi Devers, you're going to... Talking about consistency, when he pitches, he shows up, he's very relaxed, he doesn't panic. Tanner Houck, you want to We got one more, and when we talk about consistency and posting and playing the game right, this guy is amazing. We got kids here, and I bet if you want your kids to become big leaguers and play the game the right way, you're going to tell them, take a look at Jaron Durant. All
right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. We're back here, full show tonight. We're all back. That was manager Alice Core announcing the All-Stars. You heard it. I don't have to tell you. I'm fine with the All-Stars that were named. Tanner Houck, Rafael Devers, and Durant. In. Who's got a problem with it? Did they miss anyone? I thought Kenley Jansen might have been a guy. But do the Red Sox really need 4 All-Stars? Do they have 4 All-Stars? I'm fine with who made it. I think Houck's been really good. Andrew Bailey, I think, is a lot to do with that. Some of the changes he's made. I'm curious about Houck in the second half this year. I'm curious about the pitching in general in the second half. When it comes to the second half, it's not about how they play over the next couple of weeks. I said it's very important. But over the next couple of weeks, I feel like it's important to show that this young team needs playoff experience. If some other team goes out and spends on pitching or the biggest bat available or any of those things, it will set the Red Sox back. And what's one thing we've seen every single year after the trade deadline? They tank. All right, here are their post-trade deadline records since 2018. They finished post-deadline 2018 33-21, and I think they won a championship. I think that happened, right? 2018? Yep. 2019, after the trade deadline, 25-29. 2020, after the trade deadline, 12-14. 2021, after the trade deadline, 29-29. 2022, 26-32. And then last year, 22-34. So they started at a 611 win percentage and now down to a 393. Don't sit here and tell me that ownership not investing in the group doesn't have an effect on the roster, because it flat out does. I'm not sitting here telling you that ownership needs to do something. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is ownership, if you appreciate your asset that you said, you called the Red Sox an asset. So if there's such an asset, give them playoff experience. Bring in players that can give them that experience. So when the Anthonys are ready and the Marcelo Mayers are ready, they're with players that have experience in the playoffs. Help your asset. So I do agree on one thing when it comes to the trade deadline. You're either buying or you're selling. You're not doing one. You're not doing nothing. How about that? You're not doing nothing. A lot of people will say, buy, invest in this team. And I'm going to tell you right now, ownership's going to tell you they're not going to win a championship, so why? Isn't that the same reason that people were upset when, I don't know, the Patriots don't make a move at the trade deadline or another team doesn't make the move at the trade deadline? For years, Danny Ainge did not make a trade on deadline day. Trader Danny did nothing. Brad Stevens takes over, they make trades, they win a championship. Invest in your future. If it's an asset, invest in it. So if you are going to sell off pieces, it is a great market. I'll say that. I understand the sell piece. I get it. This is the time to sell. You will cash in. You'll get players that are available that probably weren't. And then next year, when the Anthonys and Mayers and all these guys are ready to go, you're loaded. But there's a value in adding to the team. It's getting to the playoffs. And I wanted to read this because this was from Buster Olney, who said on the pregame show that the message executives are getting is the Red Sox are undecided on whether to buy or sell at the deadline. They're in the playoffs at the moment. And the Fangraphs has them at 44% of making the playoffs. So I would love to say 50-50 yes here, Skaz. I'm a 44, let's do the Joe math here, 56. I'm 56% yes. I'm 56% yes. Invest in the team. Add to the asset. Add to it. Give them playoff experience. All of a sudden, people will be interested in the Red Sox again if they're playing big games. I'm 50-50 yes. Yes, I'm 56% yes now. If they only have a 44% chance of making it, I'm 56% yes. Joe math, everybody. I'm in. And then, there's the story about John Henry. All this talk about buying or selling, and now they're talking about the Strategic Sports Group's venture into the PGA Tour. And here's what we get today. I didn't even read the story. I'm just going to give you what I read. Over the holiday weekend, John Henry spoke at length and in detail about why and how FSG got into business with the PGA Tour, Fenway Sports Group. When it came to speaking about the Red Sox, Henry declined. Just like, I believe Wick Grossbeck was asked about John Henry of the Fenway Sports Group being involved in purchasing the Celtics, which we'll get to later in the show. And what was said? No comment. The Red Sox are in a playoff spot right now. They have Oakland and Kansas City, and then they're going into the All-Star break, potentially a playoff team. They have 3 All-Stars. Their manager is a lame duck who is out the door and is going to have a successful season and get paid. And you know what? I'm in on it. I am not going to sit on this show for the rest of the summer and say, they should sign Cora. They should sign Cora. Absolutely not. Cora should do what he can for these players and then go get paid somewhere else. LA, New York, wherever. I will not do Alex Cora should stay because he doesn't want to and he shouldn't, and you all know that. Nobody wants to work for someone that won't pay them. Nobody does. And I won't sit here and literally say, you should stay. He should stay. Hell no. Craig Counsell got paid last year, and you know what? Alex Cora is going to make a lot more money. Bravo, sir. Bravo. You want to call out management? In. You want to crown him? You want to crown him? Then crown him. I always love that with Skaz. You want to crown Alex Cora? You crown him. You know why? He's going to get paid, and he is exactly who he thought he was.
If you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were.
He is who we thought he was. A damn good manager. Maybe one of the best in the game. Stay here with the Red Sox and what? Get paid peanuts and insulted offers and not invest in the team? Out. I'm actually now on the Alex Cora goodbye tour. We're halfway through. This is the Alex Cora farewell tour. You won. You cheated. You got fired. You're back. You sucked. You're good again. Go get paid. That's life. that whole circle. It's a 6-cycle carousel, and that's what you call Boston Red Sox. Put that one on a video. 617-779-0985. Skaz, you're back, sir. I've been yelling for 26 minutes about the Red Sox. Can you believe that that's what we're doing today?
I think they deserve it. They've been good. Cora's been good. This is exactly what we were hoping for. I don't know if we thought this was going to happen at the beginning of the season, but no, they deserve it. They deserve to be talked about. They deserve to be invested in. The team on the field is worth watching. You know, however you feel about ownership and your disappointments the last few off seasons, you know, put that aside. The team on the field is worth watching, worth investing in. They show up every night. They play a fun brand of baseball. The Breslow stuff pregame last night I thought was very odd. I don't know how much of that you caught, but
do you think that Cora and Breslow speak?
Watching that video, not much if they do. Like,
you know what though? I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk to Dan Shaughnessy later tonight.
I am very much looking forward to that.
Who called me today? We had a quick conversation. I said, "Hey, how about 9:20 tonight? You come on and we talk about this." And so he's coming on tonight. But he feels, from what I gather, that Red Sox ownership thinks that they're not going to win a championship, so why invest? Have you heard anybody ever say that before, that they hate that?
Yes.
You've heard that before, right?
Many times.
So now it's like, if they do invest, I look at it as it's good for it's an asset, right? The Red Sox are an asset. Give your asset some experience so it can grow, right? And develop. Give it experience. But on the flip side of it, the market, people want good players. They'll pay for good players. And you know the Red Sox like young, cheap talent, right? They're in their own little Sophie's Choice here. The problem is they can't do nothing. They have to do one or the other. I can make a case for both, by the way. But I'm 56% yes.
So you don't think they can play the middle? Because I think they can play the middle. I think they have in years past. I think that's kind of what they like to do is, you know, sell a little bit, buy a little bit, nothing crazy.
What's buy and sell for you? Like, what would be, like, trade Kenley Jansen but acquire a bat?
Yeah, I can absolutely see that.
Like an outfielder?
Something like that, yeah.
Or a second baseman?
Yep, 100%.
Okay.
And that wouldn't shock me at all. That's not what I want them to do, but with how they've run the team the last couple of years, I think that's absolutely in play.
Well, we got the Fro coming on later tonight. I already see people already wrote fear of the Fro. He also has a thought on, he's got a lot. Just got to let him roll. We got Steve Buchanan also of DraftKings. I'm going to ask him what other teams like actually have a shot this year. Like off the top of your heads, guys, right? I will say this. This year when we were doing the show, I said I'm not going to do the lazy ownership doesn't invest, so I'm not going to invest because I've done that before. I wanted to watch the games. All I can ask for at the moment, all I asked for this year was to play competitive baseball games and be interesting. And they are. They have given you everything they've asked for. Now you're actually starting to see some of the players you've heard about perform. And not to mention, are you starting to see Rafael Devers playing like one of the best players in baseball? Like, if I said Rafael Devers was a top 5 hitter in baseball, am I far off by saying that?
I don't, not this year.
He's there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's there.
Right on. Yeah, I'd put him right around there.
He's a top 10 hitter in baseball. He's a top 10 hitter in baseball. And I'll tell you right now, the way he's playing, maybe top 5.
Against the Yankees, he's top 2, maybe. Top 2 in all of baseball.
Who's the playoff team right now?
Yankees. Orioles.
Who can't they beat? Like, I get it. For the crowd that wants to say, oh, they're not going to win a World Series this year. Why couldn't they beat the Yankees or Baltimore? And I know I watched them play Baltimore this year. It wasn't always pretty. But are there a bunch of other teams knocking on the door to the point where the Red Sox aren't ahead of some of these guys? I mean,
just looking at the American League, the Orioles and the Guardians are probably the two best teams
Okay.
by far. And, the Guardians are great story, but I'm not convinced they're going on, a World Series run or anything like that. Then you have the Yankees, who we've seen firsthand just how flawed they are. And then the American League West, I mean, the Mariners and the Astros are, Mariners are 5-6 games above 500, but those teams aren't doing anything crazy. I know the Astros have been hit with injuries, but no, the Red Sox they're right in this thing. And with a couple moves, which is what everyone should be hoping they're going to do, give us something to watch, give us something to invest in. Fans are starting to really invest in this team because of their play lately. So I think ownership, in a situation like this, needs to follow suit and invest in the team as well. Will they do that? Unfortunately, probably not. But yeah, looking at the American League, I would say the Orioles are the best team, Guardians second best team, and then after that, the Red Sox are right in it.
They're right in it. If this is the asset that you claim it is, invest in it. Invest in it. And then when your young players are ready to go, you have battle-tested players that are hungry to make the playoffs with young players that are hungry to compete as well. Isn't this how they built the 2007 the 2007 team was a bunch of young players and veterans, right? The Pedroias came right up through. Ellsbury, you name them, right?
Yeah.
And then later on it was Xander Bogaerts. That they mixed all their young players, Jonathan Papelbon, John Lester, with their veterans. That's how they stayed consistent and won multiple championships. If it's an asset, invest in it. That's all I mean.
Yeah, give these guys some experience. I want to see Jarren Duran in the postseason. I want to see Tanner Houck in the postseason. Connor Wong, these guys, we know what Devers can do, but this team has a lot of guys that we're feeling good about right now, but let's see them in the playoffs. I don't want them to just, fizzle out at the end of the year because they don't make any moves. These guys deserve a shot. They're playing as good a baseball as they have, in the last, 2 years, it feels like. Just not even just the wins, but just the style of baseball, how they play every night. Like, I want to watch the Red Sox right now. That's not something I was saying even a couple months ago. This team is fun. Like, they deserve to be invested in. They are a good baseball team. And I understand Alex Cora is a huge part of it. Some people think, on the field, off the field, however you feel about Alex Cora. This team deserves to be invested in. Take Alex Cora's last year out of it. We don't know what's going to happen next year. This team this year, I think, deserves to be invested in.
Absolutely. I gave you the numbers after the trade deadline. A 393 means that they quit and you quit. That's what it shows me. Like 393 winning percentage after the trade deadline? That's unacceptable. And you'll lose the fan base again. You know what's funny? I mentioned this weekend, like, people were talking to me about the Red Sox. I got a text today, our buddy Hooch. Hey, Joe, how about that baseball team? It's like, are we actually texting about baseball right now?
It's funny you say that. I got a text from a buddy in Chicago this morning. Sox contenders, ? That was it. That was the text message.
They were on national television last night. End of a holiday weekend. The game went fast, right? You got home runs from Rafael Rafaela.
Great pitching matchup.
Saw great pitching. You saw Judge, in some situations, good. You got Soto on second. It was good baseball. It was fast. I will tell you this one more thing because I know I'm rattling. The games are more enjoyable because of the pitch clock. I can't believe it took me this long to be like, wow, it's good. I feel like we're in Little League. Oh, we had this guy in Little League. Rest in peace, Paul McGoughlin. Anybody who ever played Parkway Little League in their life, that strike three was called, and that ump was like, hustle in, hustle out. Like, I'm talking, you were sprinting to the dugout. You had like 20 seconds to get in the batter's box where they were throwing a pitch. I'll never forget that guy. He trained us well at 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. Hustle in, hustle out. Man, they're breezing. The games are enjoyable. And I'm starting to connect to the team a little bit because the ownership doesn't want to help them. And now the manager is like, screw you guys. And the players are like, help us. It's good. It's good. Oh, finally. Like the owner and the team going at it. Another good storyline for the Netflix special. All right, we got to get you the Sports Hub headlines here. I'm Joe Murray here until 11 o'clock tonight. We'll switch gears. Red Sox are on the table. And what is going on with the Celtics right now? And what is going on in the NBA? Got some takes. We'll do it next year on the Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
in the game last night, or was it the weekend? I can't really recall. The weekend I'm still putting all together. Was that Friday? Was that Thursday? What night was that? I just felt like I did a Tim the Toolman Taylor there. You ever watch that show, Homan, where he goes, "Bleh?" But did Verdugo hit a home run? And I think it pissed off Devers. And then Devers did it. And then I think Rafaela did it. There was a little bit of that all going on. And I like that. The young players are now into the rivalry with the Yankees. In another reason why you need to invest in your asset. Get to the playoffs. Give them the experience. If they get swept, fine. And if you'd like, Skaz, I can give you examples of the Celtics who might have gotten swept in 4 games. But you know what? We still talk about the Jason Tatum dunk, right? We still talk about Isaiah Thomas's big shots, Avery Bradley in the corner. Like, we still talk about it because it was the first playoff experience. What did they do? They added Kyrie. They added Gordon Hayward and Kemba Walker and Al Horford, and they kept doing it because they were experienced. They went to how many Eastern Conference Finals? Not to compare the two in cross sports. Just giving you facts. Invest. Don't do it. Let's go to the phones here. 617-779-0985. Let's start it off with our buddy Ron. He's in Texas. Hi, Ron.
Hey, Joe. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing?
I'm good. I'm just prepare yourself because this is what I agree with you 1,000%, by the way. But prepare yourself because come post deadline, I'm gonna have Sam Kennedy and Breslow going to be jamming down our throats that Tristan Cass is coming back from the IL. It's going to be the acquisition we needed, and it's building from within. And it's just like it's a Chris Sale from a couple of years ago when they tried to sell us that crap too. But yeah, this is a good team. I'm digging it. I hope they do something. You all have a good night.
Hey, man, thank you. Appreciate you. I just hope they hear the whispers? The John Henry stuff is very interesting. If we went on a likable meter right now, we have a Boston Championship big board over here. Have you ever seen this thing, Skaz? I know you're in the studio a lot, but the other night I was on with Cerrone, and we were kind of moving it back. Somehow the Bruins are ahead of everybody. I don't understand that. You know what? Hang on. I'm going to show this to everybody. I gotta show this. Okay, ready? There we go. This board is whack. I can't hear you, Skaz. Hang on. Let me put this back on here.
Has that been altered, or is that how you found it?
Nope. This is how I found it. Okay. As you can see here, the Celtics, they won. They're probably the next team to win a championship, right? Well, the meter's telling us that the Bruins are. Because the Patriots are down here. I think the Patriots got a tough road. If you don't have a quarterback, you're out. So right now, they're out. Why are the Bruins so high? Why are the Bruins here? Why not the Red Sox? And in that sport, you can go from worst place to first place. You know why? Because it's happened before. It's harder to do it in this sport and in that sport, and for the people not watching, in hockey and in football. You know what the easiest sport is to go from worst place to first place? Baseball. You know why? Because you spend money and invest, and your assets come through in your young prospects, and then you add to the team. So, therefore, when it comes to the big board championship, I think we should move the Red Sox slightly up a little bit. The Red Sox have moved up. You know what? I'm moving the Bruins down. 50-50 Red Sox. 50-50. I'm keeping it up tonight, Skaz. The next trophy meter. We'll work on that during the break. Anyway, 617-779-0985. Our buddy Justin and Lynn. What's up, Justin?
Hey, Joe, it's Justin. If Sean Henry doesn't invest in this team, he's going to sell the team right now. I want him to sell the team right now.
Oh, but it's an asset, Justin.
It's not an asset. This team is too good right now to have this team be called an asset, Joe. This is not right.
Well, listen.
Sell the team now.
They can be an asset and be good, Justin.
Yes, I know they can, but they need. They're good right now. They are. They're good right now.
Where would you upgrade the team?
I would upgrade them with pitching and maybe a bat.
All right, buddy. I hope they do it for you.
Yes, I hope they do too. Nice talking to you, Joe.
You too, my man. Thank you. That's Justin. I met him at the Sylvan Street Grill one night. He does a podcast on Lynn Television for everybody who wants to check that out. But he's mad. He thinks it's an insult to call them an asset. I love that take. In on your take, Justin. The Boston Championship big board meter. Wow, one weekend against the Yankees and we've got some movement, huh? Look at that. All right, well, you guys can hang out with us at 617-779-0985. According to Baseball Reference, Devers is 6th in MLB in offensive WAR. We didn't even use WAR or any analytics. No nerd numbers for you. Can you believe that game was 2 hours and 30 minutes, by the way? And even the announcers on SportsCenter were like, yeah, we weren't expecting to come back, so that's like us, you know? Like if there's like a Celtics game that runs long in overtime or a Bruins game goes into a shootout, we're like, we going to get on tonight? We going to get on tonight? That's what it was like for the ESPN guys last night's guess. Or like, you know, when Jeremy works the games. Like, oh, you think Jeremy's going to have to stay late tonight? It was just funny watching. I knew exactly what they were feeling on that one. 617-779-0985. That's the phone number. You can join us on the chat as well. I see you guys in there. We'll get into a little bit of Celtics. I got odds for you on the next owner. We'll do that next here on the Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
Then go for it.
I can't say. I don't know is the answer. That's why I can't say. I know it's going to be. I mean, there's been a lot of inbound interest, obviously. You can't buy these things. You can't buy these teams at the top. You can buy them at the bottom. You can buy them with a long rebuild. We are poised to go after another championship and be a real contender. I mean, we're poised. We're bringing everybody back. And so we're poised for a great run going forward. So I would think there'd be interest because people would be able to start being involved in something that is at the top of the world, not at the bottom.
Guys, that was Wick Grousbeck today. Grousbeck? I've heard it said 5 different ways now. I actually would like Wick to just tell me. Is it gross or gross? I don't know. All I know is that they are selling the team. And we mentioned we're going to have Dan Shaughnessy on later tonight, who broke the news. He spoke to Wick's father. And also texted with Wick. And they want out. He wants to settle his estate, just like they said. And listen, for anyone who's upset about this, be real. They own about, 2% or so? They probably paid 150 to like 100, I don't know. Let's just call it $200 million. And now they're going to get paid. And there's probably something, and we'll play it later on tonight, that's going to go to the highest bidder. If you want the Celtics, you're going to pay for it. And you should. They should. Here's another thing. Whoever the owner is, there has to be some sort of plan for a stadium. There has to be. The fact that they are tenants to the Bruins until 2036, that needs to be something down the line they got to work on. So, I want to give you the odds on who the Celtics' next majority owner is. And I've said this name 5 times, and he's at the top of the list. Larry Ellison, the favorite right now to be the next Celtics majority owner. The reason why I bring him up, he was the finalist, or the runner-up to acquire the Golden State Warriors, who went for a lot of money, who built a brand new stadium in San Francisco, right? I think Ellison financially can do it right now. I think he could do it. I think everybody's rooting for Steve Pagliuca. And listen, if it's going to the highest bidder, that's where things get a little interesting. So if you're going to set the odds, right, you should set the favorite on a guy that could do it no sweat. I don't know if Pagliuca's a no sweater. A no sweat guy, I should say that. Do you think he sweats? I think he does. You know? Abigail Johnson's guess. That's a name we've brought up before. Odds 4-1. Jeremy Jacobs 5-1 odds. The Fenway Sports Group 6-1 odds. Jeff Bezos. And you heard it over the weekend. You see? Oh, he took out $5 billion. Oh, Jeff Bezos took out $5 billion. He was out to eat with Tom Brady. Yeah. If I was Tom Brady, I'd go out to eat with Jeff Bezos too. By the way, Tom Brady on this list, 25-1. Steve Cohen. Jared Jones in his glory hole. Rob Walton, I feel like that's not going to happen. The Robert Kraft thing, though, let me tell you, all you Revs fans that are out there, report today came over my my airwaves. Came over. Looks like the old Revs and the Crafts may be close to acquiring something. I saw this today. Who had this? The State House reporter for the Boston Globe mentioned they're expected to pass a proposal on Thursday that will enable the Kraft Group to build a new Revolution Soccer Stadium in Everett. So is something getting close there? And does that eliminate Robert Kraft? So for you Revs fans, how do you feel about that? Just to give you some more names here, Shaq and Charles Barkley were on that list. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, out. Dana White, Mark Wahlberg, Dave Portnoy, does he have enough money? Probably not. I mean, he probably can get investors. Rob Lowe, Larry Bird, David Ortiz, Steven Tyler. Come on now. We're getting Bill Simmons. Sorry. Those were the ones that were that round out the list. But I think a lot of people are rooting for Steve Pagliuca. I really do. But I think Larry Ellison's, he's been in the mix. He's worked with the NBA before. If it's about the highest bidder, he can be that guy. If it's about the Grousbecks, though, doing a solid for their man Pags, maybe that's already been in the works. We'll do a little bit more baseball coming up here. Also, Celtics around the table. I got some Patriot stuff later on, too. Anything you guys want to talk about, we're here tonight until 11 o'clock. I'm Joe Murray, but first, let's get your Sports Hub headlines.
From the Town Fair Tire Studio, relatable, reliable, and even relentless at times.
We're doing it live.
This is Boston's home for sports. WBC-FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Sports Hub headlines.
Well, Red Sox are off tonight after taking 2 or 3 from the New York Yankees this week. They pitched a shutout yesterday, 3-0. Carter Crawford, 7 innings. Devers with a home run. 2, actually. Rafaela also with a home run. That would be a Rafael and a Rafaela. Ooh, that could be like a new little thing. Rafaela, Rafael. You remind me of a baseball story. Rafaela. Remind me of a baseball story. Dan Hurley's getting paid tonight, $6 and $50. That's 6 years, $50 million. And Cameron Sutton suspended 8 games for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. Headlines, they are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray. Next update in 30.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
And this one is sent to left field. That sends Verdugo back, and he has done it again! Rafael Devers against the Yankees has put them up 1-0 on his 15th career homer in this ballpark. And here comes the ball, and Devers finally gets to home plate.
Pitch was supposed to be outside, leaks out over the plate, and Rafael Devers just gets enough to hit that home run to put the Red Sox up.
Slow roll to third. Devers, bare hands, got him! What a play by Rafael Devers at third base with a bare hand to get LeMahieu.
They call those do-or-die plays, and Rafael Devers, barehanded this play. He can crush you with the bat. But right here, Rafael Devers, who's worked hard at his defense, does it again in the bottom of the 8th.
Single and a homer for Devers, and this one is driven to center field. He's watching it. He thinks he did it again. Oh, my goodness. Rafael Devers here at Yankee Stadium, his second of the night. 16th career shot here to tie Ortiz. They pitch to him, and he makes them pay. What a shot.
I mean, Rafael Devers, hats off to him. Not only has he done it with his bat twice, also defense.
Rafaela. Remind me of a baseball story. Hitting homers near Harlem. You're living the life just like the baseball stars. Oh, Rafaela. Man, how about those guys last night? The Cora situation. Everyone's going to talk about it. They all are. I just got one a little while ago. Somebody liked the Santana riff. Someone said that was elite, so good job on you there, Skaz. The latest MLB World Series odds, Dodgers, Phillies, Yankees, Orioles. Why not the Red Sox? Why not the Red Sox? Also, Dave checking in. Hello, Dave. I'm not even sports mad at the Celtics for being sold, which means in terms of real-life anger, I'm not upset at all. So is there sports anger and then there's real-life anger? So then what do we show here, Skaz? If there's sports anger and there's real-life anger, I can't tell you how many times I've bet on a game and I'm just pissed all the time. Look at this guy. What are you doing? Rah. Is that sports anger or is that me being a degenerate gambler?
I don't know if I can differentiate the two. Like they bleed into each other.
Yeah, they do bleed into each other. But all right, let's talk this out, Skaz. Let's do it. I gave you the Alex Cora arch, right? Alex Cora comes in after cheating, wins a championship with a good team, then gets fired for cheating, then comes back and they suck. Then they sucked again. But he's got 2 more years left. They really sucked last year, let me tell you. At the end of the year, they all gave up. They fired Chaim Bloom. It's kind of like, did Cora win? Did Cora win the Bloom matchup? I don't know. And then this year, it's no contract extension. He doesn't want to talk about it. I don't know if you can find that, actually, Skaz. I'm putting you on the spot here, but he was asked by Chris Cotillo about next year, and at this point, I don't know if I want to pressure. Like, if I was down there, if I was Joe with a mic after the game in New York, hey, Alex, next year, man, is this going to make things better for you, man? And he just doesn't comment on it. He doesn't want to come back. Let's hear this from last night, Chris Cotillo asking Alex Cora about next season.
The only thing I'm trying to do is to put this team in a position to make the playoffs. I know that if we get there, it's going to be fun. But first things first, we got to get there. The other part of it, like I said, it doesn't matter what I think or what people think, or it's gonna take care of itself when the season is over.
Right. I think the perception from everyone is that this is your last ride here. Like, you're definitely very open to coming back, right?
I'm definitely open to show up every day and keep working. That's my goal. I said I don't want to talk about the future. I want to talk about the future. Whenever we get there, we get there.
You know what, guys? I'm open to showing up every day, too. You know? I am very open to showing up every day and trying to put on a good show and hang out with our YouTube fans and chat and be a digital content creator and radio host. I'm open to that, too. You know what else I think Alex Cora is open to? Money. We all want money. I want more money. Skaz wants more money. We put up big numbers. We want to get paid, right? Alex Cora, that guy puts up good numbers. I don't blame him. Last year, I think he quit. And I think, in hindsight, you get defeated at times, right? When your boss doesn't support you or invest in the business, you look at it and say, what am I doing here? I can better myself. Isn't this relatable? Don't we talk about, when it comes to sports, right? One of the big talking points with the Red Sox is there's nobody to relate to. Is there anybody that you can relate to more than Alex Cora? A guy in the final year of his deal knows he has to stay here because the team brought him back, I don't know, after doing cheating years ago. They brought him back. They're no longer investing. He signed up for it. Breslow has signed up for it. And you know what he has to do? He has to make the best of the situation. He comes here. They play well, potentially make a playoff, and then he goes and gets paid. In my life, I have learned this in life. I've worked many jobs. I told you, I started at McDonald's, and now I'm working here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. So you can do anything in life, people, okay? But I will never, ever get upset with a coworker who wants to better their career. I will never be upset. If Skaz said, hey, Joe, I love working with you, but I got an opportunity to do something, I'd be like, hell yes, Skaz. Go get that money. Go chase that paper. Isn't that so relatable to Alex Cora right now? Nobody wants to see him go. He has to go. He shouldn't put up with this. He's one of the best managers in baseball. That's a fact. And you know what? This year, I think it is about the players more because maybe he's more invested in the players. Maybe he's taken the offseason to talk to these guys and say, hey, listen, we got a lot to prove this year. I have a lot to prove this year. I want to make you better, to make the team better, to make my life better. So I wouldn't be surprised if the players are in on this. And, you know, you look, I always relate things to movies, right? How is this not like the movie Major League? I've said this before. An owner that doesn't want to invest in the team. A manager who says, wow, we might have 3 or 4 All-Stars on this team. What do the Red Sox have? 3 or 4 All-Stars. They have guys we've never heard of. They have guys hurt. There are seriously guys I've never heard of on the Red Sox. Seriously. And all of a sudden, it's like you're the grounds crew guy being like, hey, these guys aren't that crappy at all. This is exactly just like the movie Major League. It's exactly like it. But this is real life. This is a manager who's won championships and World Series, who's well-respected around the league, who's a former player who doesn't deserve what ownership is doing. To make a respected man like that, granted with a little bit of a history, work with this group without investing and making him a lame duck, it's absolutely embarrassing. They almost did it to Terry Francona, who won them their first championship in 86 years. He was fighting for a 2-year option. Imagine that. But you know what he did? He bit the bullet and said, this team needs a new voice. And then what they do on the way out of town? Smeared his ass. The same thing will happen to Cora, but you know what? He'll be in a better situation and he'll get paid. Just like your colleague. Just like the guy you know, maybe just like you at one point in your career. If you're going to sit here and say the Red Sox are unrelatable and you can't relate to any of them, relate to Alex Cora, a guy who maybe made mistakes, but is a great manager, helping a great young group of potential all-stars, but is going to get paid somewhere else because ownership won't do it, and I support that man. I support him 1,000%. You go get paid, Alex Cora, because you're not going to get the money here, and they don't believe in you or respect you anymore. Go get your money, just like our boys are going to go get paid too someday as well. 617-779-0985. I can't relate to any players on the Red Sox anymore. I relate to Alex Cora, damn it. You should too. Get the team in the playoffs. Get paid. Council did it last year. He got paid. We got Steve Buchanan of DraftKings, our baseball guy. We'll do it coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.
So, he'll reunite with Mookie Betts, and we'll hate it. Now, Cora to the New York Yankees, I got to tell you, that would be an all-timer. An absolute all-timer. So I would so be in on that. But again, if you want to join the chat tonight, go to youtube.com/985 The Sports Hub. You can see us right there. And you can download it on your television. Last night, I went to YouTube. I saw the 98.5 The Sports Hub right on there. And I was watching some old clips. I watched some wrestling history last night, as there was Money in the Bank this week. So I watched a little bit of wrestling this weekend. So that was cool. And, you can also download it on your tablet, phone, wherever. And we're talking Red Sox here after a holiday weekend. Can you believe that? And we're going to talk to Steve Buchanan coming up from DraftKings in a little bit. He's a man who knows a little something about baseball. And the Verdugo stuff this weekend triggered me a little bit. I just feel like he's such a losing player. Like, just, that guy oozes loser. He's a oozer. That guy oozes suck. He stinks of loser mentality, and I don't know why, but I feel like that's what's happening to the New York Yankees right now. Right? The Red Sox have won 16 of 22, yet the Yankees have gone the complete other direction on that one. So I just feel like Verdugo has a lot to do with some of the issues that are happening when it comes to the New York Yankees. So we're here until 11 o'clock tonight. We're back from a big holiday weekend. The Red Sox named 3 All-Stars. Tanner Houck, one of them, has a hell of a first half. And I just wanted to give you this this number real quick when it comes to just some of the things that Rafael Devers has done of late. I mentioned the 16 of 22 and the Yankees have lost 16 of 22. But Rafael Devers has tied David Ortiz for the most home runs in Yankee Stadium by a Red Sox player with 16. 16. And I mentioned signature moments, at least for me this year. I maybe there's other signature moments. But Yoshida's home run, 2 outs on Friday night, to me, that was their signature moment this year. They were out. They came back and won. They got smoked the next day. And they came back on Sunday Night Baseball and took care of business. And won another series. Like, to me, that's good. That's good. Jarren Duran's the other story. Jarren Duran making the All-Star team. We'll ask our buddy Steve Buchanan, who joins us right now on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. And you might have to mute his volume there. But Steve Buchanan joining us here on 98.5 The Sports right now. How you doing, Steve?
Joe, what's up, my guy? Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. I know we're trying to do the old YouTube tonight, getting you logged in here through our VMix. But are you surprised on where the Red Sox are at the moment?
Oh, man, you know what? I'll be happy to lose this under win total that I took for them at the beginning.
We're good.
Oh, good?
Oh, we're good, man. Sorry about that. I was in the clock back. You heard me.
No, no worries. I mean, I took the under on this win total, when it first opened up. I mean, this was an 80.5 win team on DraftKings Sportsbook. And I'm like, oh, my God. This is the freest money I've ever seen in my entire life. This team's going to stink. I'm going to take the under on that. And you know what? I'm thrilled that I'm going to be most likely losing this bet because this is a fun team, Joe. I actually enjoy watching this team. I like what they're putting on the field for the most part. We can get some improvements at the deadline, hopefully. But I love this team, man, and I'm really shocked of where they are because when you looked at this roster from top to bottom on paper, it was like, where is this team going to compete? How is this team going to do well with pitching and offense? And they've surprised in a good way. And like I said, I enjoy watching this team. I will happily take the L on this one.
So I want to tell you this, Steve. You're one of our first guests to join us via the video. It looks outstanding. So you're the first. You can tell on the Joe Murray Show, I was the first guest on video.
We'll add that on my resume, and that will get me my next job for sure.
We'll add that to the DraftKings resume that you have going on right now. But just let's talk Rookie of the Year odds. Is there a shot for Rafael or one of these Durant, one of these guys to be Rookie of the Year?
I mean, I think there definitely is for Rafael. I mean, you know what I'm actually I think is kind of weird is that they're still hitting him ninth. Why not move him up in the lineup? I don't get why they're still hitting him ninth. Like a guy who has, double-digit power. Like, I'm not saying move him up like really high, but like when I see Reese McGuire hitting seventh and Rafael hitting ninth, like I have a bone to pick with somebody for that. But when it comes to Rookie of the Year, especially in the AL, just a lot of guys kind of clumped together right now. Like Wyatt Langford is the odds-on favorite right now over with Texas. He's been phenomenal. Luis Gil with the Yankees at 2-1 odds. He's regressing a bit, and he definitely was getting lucky in the first couple months of the season. Colton Cowser's been good for the Orioles too as well, but he's definitely kind of cooled off a bit. But I mean, Abreu, Rafaela are right there in terms of odds, but the AL is just so packed right now, Joe. So I don't know if, I want to put my money down on Rafaela yet. I mean, he's 8-1 odds, which is a nice number for sure. Especially like how I'm saying, he's got double-digit power. He's got some speed. He's a really good defender out in the outfield. So he's got a shot. But I think right now, despite him being the odds-on favorite, Langford is that dude so far this year. He's just been crushing for a Rangers team that's struggling overall. But yeah, Langford's he's the real deal with the Rangers.
All right, we'll do some other MLB stuff. I just got one bet for you with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Right now to make the playoffs. No minus 130, yes plus 110. Is the value plus 110?
I think so. I think it is because if you look at the wild card standings, and right now the Red Sox are in a wild card spot, you feel pretty good about it because I have no qualms about Minnesota missing the playoffs. I think Minnesota is just playing way over their head. They have no pitching at all. And that's gonna catch up to them at some point. Unless they make a big splash at the deadline, like I think Minnesota's going to fall out of this. I'm actually very invested in the Kansas City Royals. We're just outside of a playoff spot. But like after that, after Red Sox, Royals, Astros, like it feels like those are going to be the three teams that are going to be vying for a wild card spot. Or if Seattle drops out of that division, because Houston's been, really kind of trucking along and catching up to Seattle. But I think the Red Sox can squeeze in there. The only thing that would make you not feel good about this is if they don't do something at the deadline. And I think that's a real issue for a lot of people. That's a real problem for a lot of people because this team is good, but is it ready for like a long stretch when you get to the dog days of summer here in August and September? Do they have enough to get over that hump and be one of the other three best teams in the American League to win a wild card spot? They're playing well right now. But the schedule is definitely has been in their favor a little bit. I know they had a tough series against the Phillies and the Yankees, and they've done well against that. But this team does not play well at home. They are playing so much better on the road. They need to fix whatever their home issues have been if they want to be that playoff team. But yeah, like plus 110, I feel pretty good about that right now for them to make the playoffs. Even if they can just add like a midline starter and a number 3 guy, get some depth in the infield, this team could hit, especially when you get Casas back pretty soon too.
All right, talking to Steve Buchanan, DraftKings. How real are the Baltimore Orioles?
Oh man, I love that team, man, and it's like they just have this machine that just continues to churn out these prospects. It feels like every other week the Orioles are like, oh, one of our top prospects is coming up. And like, what are you talking about? You just had 3 of them come up last week. But there's so much in this, and this is what they've been doing for the past few years. I mean, you remember when Chris Davis was on this team and he was striking out every at bat and they were just mounting all these losses. But at the same time, they were drafting so well and just making these minor league moves. And now you're putting this team on the field and they're just an absolute juggernaut. I mean, all the prospects look exactly the same. I've seen it a couple times on Twitter. They put pictures of all these guys next to each other, and you can't even tell the difference. But they all go out there and they play so well. and they're such a young team, but they play like they're a team full of veterans, and the pitching is there. They really went over the top and brought Corbin Burns in during the offseason to have him lead the rotation. That was a big thing they were missing last year. So having that piece in their rotation, it really puts them over the top. The offense is really good. The bullpen, they need to get Craig Kimbrell out of there. I don't know how in this day and age we're still relying on Craig Kimbrell to close out games. That's my only qualm with that Orioles team. But, man, not only are they legit this year, Joe, they are going to be legit for the next 5 to 7 years. Like, this is such a good team. They still got Jackson Holiday, who I know had a cup of tea up in the majors earlier this year, but, like, he's going to be a huge force for them coming up as well. This is a legit juggernaut team that's going to be reigning terror in that AL East for the next 3 to 5 years for sure.
All right, Steve, I saw it on DraftKings, so it has to be true. Is the Major League right now, the batting average around Major League Baseball really right around 240?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I think right now, I think it's off the. You put me on the spot here, but at the top of my head, I think the Padres have the best average in Major League Baseball, and they're in the 260s.
Wow!
So I'm not surprised at all that's been around there, because you know what, Joe, there's a lot of bad teams in Major League Baseball right now. If you look at the whole landscape of Major League Baseball, there's only 12 teams as of this afternoon, so I don't know if it's changed with some of the games that happened today. There's only 12 teams above 500 in Major League Baseball right now, and 8 of them are in the American League. I mean, if you look over in the National League, every team is technically still in a playoff spot within 5.5 games of a wild card spot, except Colorado and Miami. There's just so many bad teams in Major League Baseball, it doesn't surprise me that the hitting is down. I mean, look at some of the guys that come up from the minor leagues, and they're just blowing guys away. Like Paul Skeens is a perfect example over with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Comes in, starts pitching like he's been here for years. Strikeout numbers are insane. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me that, these teams are just not hitting well at all. The game is much more bearable because of, the pitch clock and all that. The games move along and hum along. So I feel like it doesn't feel like, these teams are kind of sluggish at the plate because the pace of play is so enjoyable that I don't mind watching these games. But I know for a fact, too, Joe, that the under has been hitting, I think, at like a 54% rate on the year. So that, again, doesn't surprise me about the lack of hitting. But, yeah, that sounds about right, Joe.
Do you think with the weather getting better, you've heard that, right? Over the years, that weather gets better.
Of course.
Is there a team that you're looking at and say, that's a good little, like Texas? Could they be in Houston, right? I'm just bringing up some teams. I don't know. You mentioned in the National League, there's so many, but is there someone that you're looking at saying when they get healthy or if they make a move, that's a team I want to bet on?
I mean, Houston's been that team. Like, they've been slowly getting healthy. They still have a lot of questions in the rotation, but, really kind of sounds like they're going to really go hard at the deadline. I would say Texas, but there was a report the other day where they're expected to be sellers. Like, the next couple of weeks are really going to be telling how they end up playing, but they could really end up being sellers. And they have a lot of major league pieces that they could sell off. So it would have been Texas Rangers for me if I hadn't seen that report. But Houston is that team. They're getting healthy again. They're going to get Kyle Tucker back, who's one of their best outfielders, one of their best overall hitters. They just got to do something in that rotation because you can't be relying upon old man Justin Verlander to be, the top of your rotation guy. They've lost. At one point, Joe, they had every single starter on the IL. They had a guy who, it was just all minor leaguers that were in the rotation, or it was guys who were making spot starts. So they really went through a lot. And then all of a sudden, now there are a couple games over 500, they're 46-44, and they're a couple games away from taking the lead in the AL West. It's insane. And you know how they act every time the trade deadline comes around. They're always buyers. They're always going to make moves. They're the opposite of the Red Sox at this point. But that's going to be a team to watch in the American League. In the National League, I feel like the Diamondbacks are kind of starting to turn it around too. I mean, obviously they went to the World Series last year, but they're a 500 team now. Corbin Carroll, one of their best stars, has really been sluggish, but I feel like that's also a team that they could make some moves at the deadline, and then they can really start making a push for a playoff spot.
Braves are my team. There's someone I'm looking at. Chris Sale, by the way, made the All-Star team, but they're a team I'm looking at. Philly's playing are they playing over their head right now?
I think they're just a good team, Joe. I really do. Like, I mean, when I look at that team from top to bottom, I say, yeah, maybe they could use some bullpen help. But if that's the worst case that they have, they're playing pretty well. I mean, you got to remember too. A couple of weeks ago, they lost both Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber on the same day, and they're about to get those guys back this week. And still, even with losing those two guys for about 2 weeks, they're 8 games ahead in the National League East over the Atlanta Braves, who, to be fair, have also dealt with a number of injuries themselves. But the Phillies, kind of like the Red Sox have, lose all these top guys and are still able to go out there every single night and be competitive. So the Braves were like a lock to win the National League East. I think they have the biggest odds overall, or excuse me, the best odds overall to win a division aside from the Dodgers. And the Braves are looking like it's wild card or bust for them at this point. I think the Phillies, they got the rotation, they got the offense, could use a little help in the bullpen, but that is a good team, and they're going to be someone who you're really going to have to watch come playoff time.
All right, Steve, I got one more Red Sox question for you. Let's set our own odds here, okay? These are unofficial, okay? I think Cora's gone, dude, and I'm happy for him. He's like that friend that you worked with but is getting a better opportunity and you're happy for him. That's how I feel about Cora. So if you're going to set the odds, what is the next team besides Boston? What is Alex Cora's next team that he manages if you're going to set the odds at a favorite?
Texas Rangers. I think Texas Rangers are a perfect spot for him. They got Bruce Bochy signed until the end of next year, but with them, potentially selling selling off at the deadline, they're waving the white flag. This is a team that just went to the World Series, won the World Series. Not even a year after that happens, they're selling off at the deadline. If they end up being sellers at the deadline, I would not be surprised if they just kind of cut their ties with Bochy there. Great manager. I'm not saying that I would do that, but that feels like a place that Alex Cora could fit right into. Obviously, he has plenty of ties with Texas, obviously being with Houston for so long. I think the Texas Rangers would be a perfect landing spot for him because, again, I'm not convinced, even in the position the Red Sox are right now, that they're going to buy at the deadline. And that is a tragedy, Joe, that they won't buy at the deadline because of how much this team has done despite all the odds being stacked against them. But if Cora leaves, I feel like the Rangers are a perfect spot for him. And I'm going to be really upset when I see that because he's going to lead that Rangers team back to relevancy next year if he's the manager for that team.
Good take. Some people in our chat are referencing you as a shout out to Lowell from your old radio days in Lowell.
Oh my God! Yes, so WCAP. That was a long time ago, baby. My goodness.
So our listeners have referenced Steve from Lowell, is what they said. Our other Riz, who's in there, says you look like Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh wow, that's I could have done without that comment, Joe. Like. Now I really got to go back and read the comments, but I don't know if I want to do that anymore. That's very insulting. Whoever said that, I'm not pleased with that at all.
I thought it was funny. I didn't think you'd be offended, but it is insulting. I'll give you that one. One more for you.
As being the first video guest, I don't want to be called Ben Roethlisberger. Why would I want to come back now?
See, Riz. That's Riz. You got to see Riz. He's always in our chats stirring it up. Somebody else says, remember, Steve's a WWE fan.
Yes.
I have a take for you.
Okay.
Almost 30 years ago, we watched Hulk Hogan turn heel, right?
Yep. 28 years ago, I think it was.
This week, we heard about John Cena. And he's going to have his retirement tour.
Correct.
What about the John Cena turns heel tour?
Oh, my God. Give it to me. Oh, I would love that. Oh, dude, that would be the cherry on top because that's all everybody's ever wanted for years and years. And this is your last shot. Oh, I never even thought of that, Joe. And I am like in love with the idea. Oh, that would be awesome. That would be a great, because you know what? Have him turn heel and then on his last night, his retirement, do whatever it is to turn him back. Oh, that would be perfect. That would be perfect. But you know why? They won't do it because they want the merch sales, Joe. They won't do it, I think, because of that. And that's why, they were so hesitant to turn Roman for so long, right? To turn him as the heel because he was still doing well in the merch sales. That would be perfect. Oh, I'd love that so much.
Another one would be you resemble Bubba Ray, but if you were Bully Ray and put the glasses on, that's a good one, right? I mean, I feel like that's a little better than Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, I will take anything but Ben Roethlisberger. Like the reputation that he carries is exactly why I don't want that reference. Like Give me anything else. Give me someone who has a clean record, okay? You can call me whoever they are.
One day they will call him Hall of Famer, though. They will do that.
No, that's okay. I can live without that.
Bubba Ray Steve.
That works.
By the way, dude, what happened with the sweat, man? I used to listen every weekend. What's going on? A little hiatus here?
Yeah, doing a little hiatus. They're doing some different programming come football time. I mean, look, man, DraftKings has its own fast channel on a bunch of different networks and all that, like Samsung TV. You can find it on Roku and all that. And it's just times need to change. Like things need to change there. And we're just kind of changing with the times. And we're really excited for what's coming up for football season and all that. So, you know what? I'm not upset that I don't have to wake up at 4:30 in the morning on Saturday and Sunday. I'm not going to miss that.
I know that.
I don't know how Fred does it every morning. I don't know how you can get used to that. Never get used to that.
Oh, Lifshat still does it on Saturdays. I don't know.
Oh, see, it's terrible. It's an awful time to wake up.
Imagine waking up to him though, because I've done
Lifshat.
Yeah, I've done it for a long time.
I mean, I was going to say people do it, and people do it by choice too. You know,
I love lift shots. Hey, one more thing before I let you go. I just wanted you do splits every day. For the average bettor, can you just explain when you post the splits what that means and what people should be looking for?
Yeah, so basically I post MLB and NFL splits. So this basically shows you, where the money is kind of going specifically on DraftKings Sportsbook. So it shows you the amount of handle, which is the money taken in for those bets, and then the amount of tickets. And that can be very telling, because if there's a wide split, if there's a bet that has a small amount of tickets but a high amount of handle, that kind of indicates that, these are big money plays, and this is where some of the big money players are putting their money. So people really like looking at those splits just to kind of see where the money is going for a specific bet or for specific game and all that. So at SBuchanan24 is my Twitter handle. I post those every day during MLB season, and we'll be doing so during NFL as well. So if you just want to use another leg or another thing to do your bet research, don't just use the splits. Do your normal research, but if you want this to be a part of your research, I would highly recommend that. Like I said, at SBuchanan24 on Twitter.
He's Steve Buchanan. He's from DraftKings. Our maiden voyage here on video. You look great, sir. We love the background. And you know what? Out on Ben Roethlisberger, you don't look like him.
Thank you. That's the vindication I wanted from you this entire time after you told me about that.
It's so funny because in the chat, they're like, yeah, I got him good. He's like, I pissed him off. Yeah. Always stirring
I'm going to get in the chat and start defending myself.
All right, man. Well, we got to catch up sometime. I know we're neighbors. We just don't see each other, but we will do it again someday. Maybe we'll be over at Sylvan Street again someday.
Well, I'm saying, how about I'll come into the studio? We'll carpool.
Oh, my God. That'd be cool.
Me up.
We can do that.
Pick me up.
I'm here every night till 11 o'clock, so you're more
That's what I'm saying. Pick me up. We'll do the show together.
All righty. Steve Buchanan, everybody. DraftKings. Check out all his work. Steve, appreciate you, my man.
All right, dude. We'll catch you next time. Thank you.
All right. Steve Buchanan does an excellent job over at DraftKings, and he's the baseball guy. I love that take on Cora. We'll get into that one coming up on the other side. I'm Joe Murray. Let's get to the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Tub. I'm Joe Murray. Thanks to Steve Buchanan. Great job. We're talking baseball. Talking baseball. But talking baseball. Steve was not happy, Riz, with the Big Ben. But, I mean, for those who don't know Riz, who has been a frequent caller and an everyday YouTube chatter, I mean, Skaz has spoken with Riz before. I have spoken with Riz before. It's all out of love. Let me tell you. How'd it go back there, Skaz, with the old VMix? I think everything looked pretty good tonight.
Yeah, I thought it looked really good.
We won't do it with Shaughnessy because he won't figure it out.
No. We wouldn't do that today.
Just do a phone call?
Yes.
I told you today how it worked out was I emailed him. I said, hey, man, saw your article, dude. Like, whatever. And he goes, give me your number. What's your number? I gave him my number. And I literally, hey, it's Dan Shaughnessy. I was like, hey, it's Joe. We talked for 20 minutes, and then here we are. So we'll have him on later on tonight, and we'll get the skinny. I wonder what his thoughts are on the Red Sox. And I'm really serious about that. You know what? We have a caller who's been waiting on hold, Skaz, because we got in or out coming up next, but it's regarding Jeremy Swayman. Hello, Charlie.
Hey, Joe. How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm doing my best. Hey, couple of things I was hoping you could help me out. So the fact that Swayman and the Bruins both decline arbitration means what relative to him staying with the Bruins?
He's staying with the Bruins, man. But
does it mean that he can play out one season and still sign elsewhere?
Well, they didn't give him a restrictive offer, so it would take a lot for another team to acquire him, and I think declining the arbitration makes that much harder for another team to acquire him.
So I saw that for the other teams to sign up to an offer sheet, they have to have a whole bunch of draft picks. A bunch, right? Which makes it, and they have to be natural draft picks.
And
right?
they need the salary cap space to do it. And free agency just happened.
But if they don't reach a contract settlement, what happens? So can he just walk next year?
I'll get you the info. How about that?
All right,
because I want to tell you, Charlie, is this is what I want to tell you to forget about it.
Something that I had.
I want to say forget about it and go have some halfway wings. That's what I want to tell you to go do.
All right. I had one other thing before I let you go. Thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
Wick Grousbeck says he wants to remain governor, but they want to sell 51% of the 51% team. How does he expect to still retain that position unless they make that a condition of the 51%? Right.
Part of the condition, bro. But I'll tell you this: if I was buying let's just say I wanted to buy a Cape House, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, oh yeah, this guy wants to at least still use it 3 weekends out of the year. Well, if I'm buying that thing, man, I'm not making it contingent off him getting 3 weeks a year. Are you kidding me?
I know.
Out.
That's my point. I think whoever buys the team is going to say, the heck with that. I'm not going to give you I'm not going to do it unless I control the team.
Which is why it might already have been done.
Oh, so you think it's already in the bag?
I think Pags has it in the bag, but that's just my opinion. I have no knowledge.
No, it's a good point. It's a good point. Okay.
Thanks, Charlie.
All right, well, thank you very much, Joe. Okay,
all right, bro.
Have a good one.
Take care. Watertown, right over down the road. I get my wings at Halfway. Great wings down there. Go say hi to Johanna, my friend over there. Works the bar. Does an excellent job. You know what we got coming up? I'm ready. I heard the people missed in or out while I was gone. Is that true? Was there no in or out while I was gone? We're going to do it next. Coming up on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
What's it?
gotta know without a doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best. Success is guaranteed. Do you want Miley or Coldplay?
And
no
guess
offense
what?
to Coldplay.
Guess what? People that are saying they're out on this, it's not for you. You're going to be watching anyways. It's not for you.
Who is this year? I can't even remember. Oh, Usher, right?
I thought Usher was good.
I'm not going to lie to you. I was getting down. When he was like, you got it bad. I was like, yep, I got it bad. Those were the days. But the days when I was in high school, maybe some can relate. When he came out with You Make Me Wanna, that was the jam.
All right, Joe, an interesting quote, if that's what you want to call it, out of Team USA basketball this week, coming from one Anthony Edwards. And not a surprise to anyone that's been following Anthony Edwards closely. He is a very self-confident basketball player, as he should be. But he said that he views himself as the number one option on Team USA and that everyone else on the team kind of has to fit around him. Joe, are you in or out on Anthony Edwards taking that mentality to the Olympics?
Do I think he's the number one option? No. Do I think there are other number one options? Yes. Am I in or out on him feeling that way? No. I'm in on the way he feels. I've learned in life not to dismiss people's feelings. Ever heard that before, Christina? If you're upset, I can't just dismiss your feelings, But I will tell you this, sir. Remember when everyone crowned you the next Michael Jordan, then you got bounced in the playoffs? Like our good friend Kendrick Lamar has said, be humble. Sit down. Be humble. So I'm in on how he feels. I won't dismiss his feelings. But, sir, be humble. Sit down.
All right, Joe, you just in our last segment mentioned a little of Jeremy Swayman talk, his arbitration with the Bruins. But Jeremy Swayman has said that he will look to start a new goalie tradition in 2025 with one Eunice Korpisalo. So, Joe, are you in or out?
Oh, he's in our chat. That guy loves to send me stuff. So, I don't know if it's true or not. I'm hijacking the segment, but here we go. There was a Korean robot that was working a 9-to-5 job. Or a robot in Korea, excuse me. Thank you. And the robot was working a 9-to-5 job, and the robot basically didn't want to live a 9-to-5 job life anymore, and basically corrupted itself because it was working a 9-to-5 job. I mean, I've worked a 9-to-5 job. I've gotten on the orange line before. Try getting home on 93 off that thing. The poor robot, though, it had enough. It said, I can't live this life. So then I read also that it wasn't true. So now I don't know what to believe because I know working a 9-to-5 sucks. Like Blink-182 said, work sucks. I know. Emo Joe. Anyways, yeah, that was the true I think it's a true story about the robot.
We'll have to check the sources on that one. But speaking of Emo Joe, we will end with this one tonight, Joe. Wrestling fans got some sad news over the weekend, and that is that one local legend, WWE legend, John Cena, has announced that he will be retiring from, what did he call it, in-ring wrestling in 2025. So, Joe, are you in or out on John Cena hanging it up in 2025?
Okay, so the way that it was originally announced was that John Cena was retiring and he'll be at his last WrestleMania this year. So to me, I'm like, all right, well, it's July. WrestleMania is Easter weekend. They can sell some tickets from July to April, right? No, he's going to wrestle the entire 2025 year, meaning January to December. I'm in on this. You know why? We're going to get some matchups maybe we never got before. No. Would Goldberg want to have his final match versus John Cena? There's a lot here. And I think that John Cena, when you talk about him, he's chasing one goal. And the record for most heavyweight championships tied with John Cena is... Woo! Ric Flair. John Cena needs one more heavyweight championship to beat Ric Flair. In on that happening. I think John Cena, who was almost out of wrestling... Do you know what saved his career? He was rapping on the back of the bus. No joke. Stephanie McMahon heard him rapping. She goes, "Do you think you can do this in character?" And that's how the doctor of thugonomics?
I was going to say, it was thugonomics. That's what I remember.
Not bad for a kid from West Newbury, Massachusetts, huh? Not bad at all.
Massachusetts Hall of Famer.
I will tell you this, though, John Cena. I drive a Honda. Give me the Honda reads. I will do the Honda reads and take your money. You go wrestle. I'll take care of the Honda reads.
I think we're going to get more reads, more acting gigs. I think that's where this is headed.
Peacemaker 2 now.
I'm in on that.
I almost said Pacemaker.
Peacemaker's good, Joe. I don't know if you've watched it, but it's good.
It's good?
Very good.
All right, I've only seen the billboard at Kowloon.
No, it's on HBO. It's worth a watch. He's very funny in it.
All right. Any more tonight?
That's going to do it for me tonight, Joe. I don't know if you have any, but yeah, Monday edition of In or Out. Good to be back. Covered a lot of bases, but we had to get to John Cena. That felt like the big one.
Does that mean that you can see him one more time?
And there we go. We're going to get, that's going to be popular.
I do an event. It's at Kowloon, of course. Matt Cardona, who used to be Zack Ryder, he's got a big event up there August 18th. Everybody go check it out. But every year, John Cena's dad shows up. And everyone goes, John Cena's dad. John Cena's dad. And last year, no joke, John Cena's dad suplexed through a door in front of me. It was awesome. All right, we'll get to the headlines here. We're a little late, but you know what? Who cares? I'm Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, the only place to hear the local call of the game is right WBC-FM and HD Boston. Boston's home for sports. 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox have taken 2 or 3 from the Yankees, but they got Oakland and then Kansas City on deck. The Celtics have signed J.D. Davison to a 2-way contract. Dan Hurley, an extension at UConn, 6 years, $50 million. And in NFL news, Cameron Sutton, he's been suspended 8 games for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. Headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update soon.
Joe Murray going to be with you 7 to 12. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I'd rather stick needles in my eyes.
Boston's first FM all sports radio station. Let's go! All sports radio. Boston's home for sports. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
All right, back here 98.5, the Sports Hub. Well, we had to, in or out. I didn't catch any of the hot dog eating contest, did you?
If Joey Chestnut's out, I'm out.
It was on Netflix. I didn't even look at it. Did you? Oh, I'll save it for music. I'll save it for musings. But it involves chicken nuggets. We all love chicken nuggets, right? Crispy, spicy, tenders. I mean, they make those little sticks, chicken sticks now. We'll save it for the musings because we are going to speak with a man who knows a little something about what's going on with the Boston Celtics current sale and has a lot of opinions. I ran into him about a month or 2 ago, and I had one question for him, and it was where he got his meatball sub. We got that answered. And we may do that coming up next. Dan Shaughnessy of the Boston Globe joins us coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Joe Murray going to be with you 7 to 12. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I'd rather stick needles in my eyes.
Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
Myself and our next guest, just play the sounder for us.
Joe Murray going to be with you 7 to 12. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I'd rather stick needles in my eyes.
That is one Dan Shaughnessy of the Boston Globe joining us here on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Dan, do you remember that day, sir?
Good times. You were just a young pup then.
I know. I'm not shining shoes no more. I'm not sure if you heard. You've been gone for a while here, but you've been all over it, man. I got to give you some credit. I think you nailed this Wick Grossbeck thing, and maybe just tell our audience what you uncovered and what's going on right now with the Boston Celtics sale.
Well, just from talking to people, it came clear to me that his dad's the one driving the sale, and I questioned. I knew he didn't have like a majority stake personally. I mean, he's always identified as owner, and I understand the face of the team and running the team for his dad, but I just thought, let's just try to nail down what that number is. And when I pitched it to both his dad and him that Wick has less than a 2% stake, nobody argued with that. And they seem to be pretty comfortable with that news coming out. And now Wick's kind of not using that number, but he's explaining that he's not the majority shareholder, and that his percentage, as we know, is as we now know, it's smaller, and that's how I remember it when they bought it 22 years ago, whatever. But anyway, so and it just I didn't get a lot of information from anybody, and Pags announced that 2 days after telling us he was going to be in on the bidding, told me he had a non-disclosure agreement. So something happened in that 48-hour period with him. And Irv, the dad, who's going to be 90 in a week and a half, indicated that he was going to talk to me and then thought the better of it and had no comment, but was very polite about it. So, and again, he did not push back on the information that I was going with. So it feels like, subsequently, I think that across their team that they're all pretty comfortable with this getting out there now. I think it's kind of cards on the table, and folks now understand what the dynamics are a little closer to what it is, and kind of correcting people's perceptions over the last several years.
Well, you've covered many sales. I mean, the Red Sox sale, I don't even think they were the highest bidder, right, at the time?
Correct. So that was what we call the Bud Selig bag job, where the commissioner put together parties that didn't even know each other. I mean, Henry and Lucchino had never met, and that was put together, by Bud, and who denied it, but later said to me, "Someday you'll thank me for it." So that, in my view, that's how that went. But yeah, and some of those options weren't great. I mean, Dolan was one of them; wouldn't have been great. Frank McCourt was one of them; probably wouldn't have been great. The late Joe O'Donnell was one of them. I think that would have been great. But John Henry came in and won 4 World Series. That turned out pretty great.
Have you heard anything about Wick being upset about maybe his father being the one making the decision to sell his stake? Do you think he's upset about it?
Well, I think, Joe, I do, because we know what his posture was in the weeks and leading up to the championship, and in the days right after. Whenever asked, the team's not for sale. We get paid in championship parades and this kind of thing. And then quickly there was a different narrative, which is, oh yeah, we're selling the team. So that kind of didn't add up. I mean, I realized he wouldn't necessarily play his hand, but the level of cockiness and sort of independence that he was coming at us with on that, and no attempt to kind of explain the layers of real ownership that are behind this. And then it seems to me his dad just decided he wants to get his affairs in order. There's 3 other children besides Wick, and the man's going to turn 90. He's still teaching business at Stanford. I had people saying, "How could you email an old man like that?" Well, Jesus, the guy's teaching business at Stanford. I think he can handle email, and he clearly can, and is a very sharp guy and ongoing. But within Boston, we don't get a lot from John Henry anymore, or certainly Jeremy Jacobs for 49 years has been under the radar, but this guy has been the most under the radar guy ever. I mean, he's Howard Hughes as far as we're concerned. I can't find that he's ever been quoted, which is why I was so interested when for a few hours there I thought he was going to tell me stuff, which he opted not to, and that's regrettable in my world. But it was nice to have some communication with him, and like I said, he was extremely polite.
All right, talking to Dan Shaughnessy of the Boston Globe. You mentioned the old bag job years ago. Do you think this will go to the highest bidder? And, with all the betting sites out there, I know how you feel about those these days, Dan, but if you were to pick a favorite, who do you think would be the favorite?
Well, it's a good question, Joe, and I think that, the whole Pags thing is interesting because, they've been together 22 years, and we know Pags to have at least an 8% stake in the team, which is more than Wick, but not more than the Grousbeck family. So you've got that. And he announced the day of the sale announcement that he was going to be in on the bidding. And that was a little bit of a throwdown, I think. And folks say, well, why didn't they just work this out among themselves? Because the Grousbecks are venture capitalists, and you want to find out what the high number is. You don't sell your house to a guy who likes your house and without finding out what it's worth through the open bidding process. And to me, that's what we're seeing here. And then it's on Pags to match or do better than whatever that high number is. So, I mean, you see everything now with this. I mean, Bezos is liquidating some of his stock, and is that to buy the Celtics? You're going to see this ongoing. I think it's not going to be FSG. I think that John Henry does not want to be paying rent to the Boston Bruins. I don't think he wants any part of the luxury taxes that are coming with this team. He can't sleep at night over baseball luxury tax. So I don't think that he wants to take on what the Celtics have committed to down the road or pay rent to the Bruins. There's the LeBron problem. I think you can get around that, but I just don't think that he's a player in this. And I think that there's NBA protection against the Saudis, or I don't think the league allows international entities to come in. But you'd have to check that beyond me. One of the crazy things is Wick in that statement telling us he plans to be governor through 2028, but that they want to have the shares sold by the end of this year or early next year. Well, don't you think whoever takes over the team and buys all that stuff and becomes the majority owner, they're going to want to be the governor or name the governor? That sounded like fantasy to me. I didn't understand that.
Yep. You mentioned John Henry. Have you emailed with him of late? I know he's doing a lot of emails these days and isn't really talking about the Red Sox. He's been pretty quiet on that. Even if you ask about the Red Sox, there's no comments. Have you tried to reach out to them, and what's it been like trying to contact John Henry?
Well, that's been an awkward thing a long time. There's no secret to that. We haven't talked in 15 years. And I understand that, and I really value, working at the Boston Globe and the fact that he feels the way about me that he does, which is well documented, and the fact that I'm still allowed to write the column and put my opinions in there. I give him high marks for that, because that cannot be a lot of fun to pick up and see me throwing the elbows in there. So, but I'm not gonna have a high yield on reaching out to John. That ship sailed.
Well, let me ask you this: are you really throwing elbows, or is it just facts?
Well, that's how I like to think of it. But everybody has their interpretation. So no, I think that I try to represent the fans and the loyal Red Sox legions who have been so loving and good to this team in every way through the decades. And I think if they're not getting what they deserve, that I try to represent that. But there's different points of view in that, and John considers it a false narrative. And again, he's a smart guy and an accomplished guy, way more than I am. So I understand that.
You mentioned the word narrative. I hear that a lot. It's like the new sports radio thing, right? Oh, the narrative, whatever. But one thing I heard you the other night, you might have been on NBC Sports Boston, and I think you said that, well, the ownership doesn't think they're going to win a championship anyways, so why invest in the team? And I'm not putting words in your mouth when I say this, but isn't that the lazy narrative for an owner? And yet he wanted to blame the fans for their expectations. Like, I don't know. Here they are. They're actually in the playoffs as we speak right now.
Yeah.
So don't you think they should invest in their asset, what he called it?
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be fascinating how this unfolds. I feel like, they've got a game plan, and the team has exceeded expectations in a million ways and kind of upended the game plan, which was definitely to this to be a bridge year and to be, sellers at the deadline. They've got pieces, Jensen, Pavetta, O'Neill, those are guys that have value for a contender. So it'll be interesting. And that, if you watch that ESPN telecast last night, those were not good interviews that you saw, and the take that they're undecided, and they're Craig Breslow talking about, they still don't know. I don't know, man. As you just said, they're in the playoffs now, and I just think that's going to, not that anybody needs to answer to anybody, but I think it's a poor message for the loyal fans and certainly for the clubhouse and for Cora, who, by all appearances, is just out of here. And I understand that too.
Well, Dan, I had a chance to catch up with you. You were at the Boston Bullpen Project. Very nice event. That's a dream team, right? That was a dream team core that you guys had there that night. And I walked up to you, and I'm glad to hear that you're doing well. I mean, you're spitting fire when it comes to your Globe articles, so I got to give you that. You're still sharp as a tack. But I asked you, because you wrote in your article, hey, I'm alive, everybody. And I had my son get my laptop and a meatball sub, and when I saw you, I said, hey, man, this is an important question. Where'd you get that meatball sub? Can you tell everybody where you got that thing?
Pizza Etc., Oak Square, Brighton. It's got great meatball subs and great everything. So, yeah, we definitely loyal to anything Brighton.
You got to check that out. It's beyond NBC Sports Boston. They're replaying that Boston Bullpen Project. It was absolutely outstanding. I do have to ask you one more Patriots question. I think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL this year. I've bet on it. Plus 345 right now. I think it's ownership in the way that John Henry, in the way that Robert Kraft and Gerard Mayo, the way that he handled this offseason when he made the joke about the orange juice and then spilled the orange juice. I think that's exactly the way the season's going to go. But, there's another owner that's not spending money on their asset as well.
Yeah, it's always been weird with that because I don't pretend to understand the NFL salary cap and, is there a cap and all that stuff like that. But you hate to see, this parade of bringing in coaches that get paid by other teams and kind of nickel and diamond things with all the success and they've had. The one thing there that you do have is you have an owner that he cares about his team. We don't all agree with how they're approaching it all the time, but I will say, I think that the Patriots are front and center. It's not International Forestry or certainly it's not the Revs or whatever. And that's something with the baseball operation. You haven't had that same assurance given, Liverpool, Roush Racing, Penguins, PGA Golf, et cetera, et cetera. So we give the Kraft family their props in that area. But, yeah, sometimes curious about why winning every contract is so important.
One of your colleagues, Matt Stout, mentioned that there may be a new stadium in Everett. Are you buying it? Obviously, it's being reported, but do you think it's something that will happen?
Are you talking about for the Celtics or for the Revs?
For the Revolution.
Oh, yeah. I'm always dubious about new stadiums. I mean, I've lived here a long, long time. And, there's so much greasing of palms and so many things have to happen for the payoffs. And it's just so hard to get anything done around here. But that one's certainly closer than the fantasy of the Celtics new owners and all this kind of jazz. So, and it's smaller and it's manageable. But the municipalities and all the commissions and everybody who's got their hand out, I just think it's tough to get anything built here.
All right, he's Dan Shaughnessy, everyone, who was with the Sports Hub when it all started. They're going to be celebrating the 15-year anniversary, Dan. So you were a big part of that, mentor to me as well. And I think your watch might be in the mail. I'm not sure, but there will be a 15-year celebration, I believe. So I do want to give you props, man. You were here since day one. Remember the Dan Shaughnessy show on the weekends?
The Dan Shaughnessy show. Poor Adam Jones had to do all the work, and it was my show. But it was those were good times.
Yeah, and
good times.
And then I took his job. So, it all worked out full circle here for me. For Dan. Dan, I do appreciate taking a few minutes, my man. Of course, you can check out all his work over at the Boston Globe. And hope to see you around, Dan. Maybe we'll get a meatball sub sometime in Oak Square.
Let's do that. Appreciate you and your work, Joe. Take care, man.
Appreciate it. He is Dan Shaughnessy, Hall of Famer, by the way. Hall of Famer. Dan Shaughnessy of the Boston Globe joining us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. I had to ask the John Henry question about because they haven't spoken in 15 years. He employs the man.
I was going to say, I'm sure to some employees that sounds like a dream, not having to talk to your boss for 15 years, but that's got to be an awkward workplace scenario there.
Imagine not having a conversation. I have worked here 13 years. I don't think I've ever met the owner, right? Is that weird? Well, I don't know. This man is he's on television. He's writing in the newspaper. He won an award for the Baseball Hall of Fame. How do you not talk to the guy?
Because you're scared of the truth.
Just email him. Give him crap. Lie to him. Would you think Shaughnessy would know he's lying to me? Anyways, thank you, Dan. And by the way, Dan was a big part of what we did here at 98.5. I wasn't here at the start, but you know what? Big part of it.
I remember listening to those shows back in the day, Shaughnessy on the weekends. And he was, I love Shaughnessy. I think he's tremendous. And I didn't know that Saudi thing that he mentioned about a potential, NBA owners for the Celtics. I had no idea that you have to be a U.S. entity to, potentially own a team. I didn't know that.
So Saudi's out. I remember we briefly mentioned that.
Might have to look into a little more, but yeah, according to what Dan said, I believe so.
In NBA only, right? Or is it also?
It sounded like it might have been an NBA thing, but yeah. So that's definitely interesting. But I think we mentioned it earlier that, Pags or Ellison or one of these local people will probably, win the bid, in quotes.
All right. We'll go to break. Thank you, Dan. Christina did a great job editing another video for us. It's on our YouTube channel. We're going to upload that coming up in a little bit. We'll get back to the Cora. What do they call it? The
Cora Carousel?
The Cora Carousel. which the take was so good that I can't even repeat it anymore. I have to listen to it again. But we'll have more. Oh, I got a Patriots take coming up next. We'll do that here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. We're here until 11 o'clock tonight. We got the musings at the end of the hour. Oh. I want to thank Dan Shaughnessy once again. And again, he was with our radio station when it all first started, and I believe the 15-year anniversary is coming up. A month away, I believe. So there'll be a lot going on here at 98. Can you believe that 15 years ago? Where were you, Skaz, 15 years ago?
High school, I think. Was it 2008, 2009? Yeah.
Wow. I was
sophomore in high school.
Can't remember where.
Freshman in high school.
Oh, I was. I might have been with the old AM cluster.
You weren't Joey Cars back then?
I was Joey Murr back then.
Joey Murr.
The Sports Blast with Joey Murr. That was my show. I think I was. Well, it depends. I was either at, because when you people don't understand in the radio business. Like, you used to have to work at like a small radio station and then like be a board op and then like work all the weird shows. When I say weird, or like, I've worked them all, man. So let me tell you, whether it's holistic, financial, religious,
alien related,
progressive, I've done it. I've literally worked, and this isn't a flex. I have worked in almost every type of format you could. I've done religious shows, sports, definitely. I did good time favorites on the North Shore. Now I think about it, like, how do you start? How do guys at Barstool get their start? Like, what do? You do a podcast and then they find you? If you didn't work at a small station, how do you get a job anymore? Anyways, people now bringing up their old days now. Hey, we got a guy on the phone. His name's John. He's in Hyde Park. Hey, John. Hey, John. Hyde Park. How are you? What's going on? Are you going runs? Oh, he hung up. His take was why the Bruins should buy the Celtics. I looked this up the other day. Did you know that Jeremy Jacobs is only worth $4.1 billion? I don't think he could buy the Celtics. And could John Henry? Maybe. But I think it would struggle. Do you know who does make a lot of money? And I had to look it up. Robert Kraft makes $11.1 billion. Skaz, I was in with Cerrone I wasn't on night, it was on Thursday morning. Maybe you heard me. I cannot sit here and tell you that man who makes $11 billion has the most salary cap space remaining in the NFL. And all they're doing is retaining their players. And now you have guys sending cryptic tweets. Remember we used to make fun of Matthew Judon and we hated him being the recruiter for the Patriots? Now, he can't even get an extension. Now he can't even. Here he was recruiting everybody, right? Him and DeAndre Hopkins, La Familia. Yeah. La Familia got $11 billion and ain't paying you, bro. You got to pay for your own long sleeves. True story. I'm not making that up. I mean, this is what I mean about paying guys in-house. Now you get the guys who should. You mean to tell me Matthew Judon is on a crap team who's probably there? I mean, as far as high-end talent, he's probably at the top. He probably is at the top of the list. That means you suck. So you're paying everybody, but now he's sending out the cryptic tweets. Your biggest recruiter is now pissed. $11 billion. There you go. But you know what? The Revs, they might get a new stadium in Everett. That's the Globe article today. I'm not buying that. I'm just going to read this. The Mass Senate is expected to pass a proposal on Thursday that enables the Kraft Group to build a Revolution soccer stadium in Everett. The Senate included the measure of 120. I don't care about your economic development bill. Are you going to build it or not? And I'm telling you right now, I'm betting no. Can I bet on that? Massachusetts? Is that something we can bet on? Will there be a new Revolution Stadium? Anyways, my buddy Gravy wants to give a shout out to WBNW. Yes. And the Holistic Healers. Yes, sir. That was the name of the show. There's always somebody listening, yes. You never know who's listening these days, man.
I mean, if that doesn't prove it, WBNW, the Holistic Healers, then that's throwing it back right there.
We had some doozies there, man. Oh, yeah, we had some doozies. Hey, you know what I tapped out, though? Progressive talk. Out. Once that came out, I was like, nah, I'm going to New Hampshire. Live free or die, baby. That was it for me. And then finally, one day, the Sports Hub said, you know what, Joe? We'll give you an audition. How about Christmas night, the night of the lockout? Yeah, people will be listening that night. Took what I could get, Skaz, and then they hired me. And it'll be 13 years soon here at the Sports Hub as they celebrate their 15th anniversary next month. What was that meatball place Dad mentioned in Brighton? I'll tweet it out. I told you, that's the most important thing. When I saw him, I go, dude, how you doing? You good? Okay, where's the meatball sub? And check out that Boston Bullpen Project. I went to it. It was great. They're showing them on NBC Sports Boston. Go search it. We're on chat. People in chat tonight. Hey, it's Chuck Olson. He's in there. Riz. Snooki. Aren't you going to see Snooki, Christina? When is that?
Next Friday. She will be meeting Snooki. Very excited back here to meet Snooki.
I think I mean, if I had to choose one character on Jersey Shore to meet, I mean, I think Paulie's the best. I think Paulie D's the best. It's not Jenny. Out. See ya. You know, Mike the Situations are a rehabilitated man. What's he go by now? Is he like the Situation? What is he now?
You're out on JWoww?
Out on JWoww.
Disappointed to hear that, Joe.
You know who else I'm out on? Sammy. Angelina, out. Out. I think the only ones I'm in on are Vinny and Paulie.
Not Snooki?
You know what, Snooks? Snooks.
Oh, my old pal, Snooks.
You know, I didn't like Giovanni. Can I just share that? Wasn't a fan of Giovanni. Her husband. Remember the duck phone?
I'm being told it's Gianni.
Oh, it's Gianni.
From the expert back here.
Shows how much I know these days. Anyways, we're doing a sports show. Did they play sports? I don't know. Ronnie was well, let's just say that Ron John. Ron! That's like an annoying sound. Ron!
Stop,
Ronnie, Ron. That's like, okay, the first reality TV show of my lifetime, Skaz, was The Osbournes. All right? And I watched all of them either hit rock bottom or claim to fame, okay? The son, I don't know what happened to him. Sharon kept everything afloat. Ozzy, I mean, he's still going. Ronnie. All right. We got the music's coming up next. People are trying to correct me on my Jersey Shore. You did it. Get wild. I'm the cutest bitch you'll ever meet. What else did they say? I'm trying to remember. We got ourselves a situation.
Cabs are here.
Cabs are here. I sound old, don't I? I watched that show. Jersey. All right, I got to take this. Hang on. Justin's in the car. Hey, Justin.
Hey, what's up, bud? How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for taking the call. And Joe, we were at scoreboard, me and my son, maybe like a month or so ago. You gave him the wave, and he got kind of nervous. He's not 10 years old, so I appreciate you being so cool.
Oh, cool, man. I appreciate you coming up.
Yeah. So this is a fun game that I got introduced to like years ago, and I thought based on the whole conversation, you might like to, you might get a good segment out of this, like for future segments. But if there's three, the game goes like this: 3 people, dead or alive, that you could party with, where your life is not in danger, your finances aren't in danger, and your family's not in danger of like losing you or anything like that. Who would it be?
And you have to be from Jersey Shore or in general?
No, just in general, like just in the history of all people. Like, I think it's funny that you were talking about Jersey Shore and the fact that, like, who you'd want to hang out with from Jersey Shore. And I agree with you that, like, Paulie D is the coolest guy to hang out with on the
Justin,
show.
let me ask you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, whether you do it or not, if you had one person that you could smoke marijuana with, who would it be?
My name.
Can you believe that just happened? Can you believe that just happened? Nothing happened here. I need to know the answer.
What a cliffhanger.
What's the answer? What's the answer? We have the musings coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub. It's Joe Murray on the Sports Hole.
World unrelated to sports, so sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to the words of a grown man complaining.
All right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. The chat is lit tonight. Lit. We left everybody on a cliffhanger there. I've already gotten a couple of people. The Cathedral of Boston. Well, he did call back. But he called back. And what was the answer there, Skaz?
Joe, I don't know if I would have guessed this one, but he called back to tell us his answer would be Charlie Sheen.
Tiger. You be smoke some tiger blood.
You got any drugs in the house?
You know what I will tell you, though? Unfortunately. And you ever regret anything? Like, you ever have, like, regrets?
If I have a regret, yes, of course, Joe. I'm human.
I mean, I have a big regret.
A big regret?
I went to the Charlie Sheen show. It was probably... Oh, God. Up at the time. And let's just say that Charlie Sheen came back to the radio station, and Fred and the boys went through his phone. And they called Lenny Dykstra. I remember a T that worked here. Like, you know how there's like those emails that come out and it's like you at work, and it slipped New York. I don't know New York, so I'm sorry. It'd be at Fairfield Properties. It'll be at Fairfield Properties Ballpark. They play host to what's sure to become a yearly tradition. The winner gets a $10,000 prize. The title and glory on the line. Who will be your ultimate Nugs fan? So I looked it up because I needed more information. There is a Wendy's chicken nugget eating champ. I can eat a 20-piece nugget like it's nothing. Now, would I be full after I eat it? Probably. Would I feel sick maybe later? Yeah. Now, here's the deal. If I'm getting 20 nuggets, I need 6 sauces. You can't just, like, they give you 2? It's like, bro, I'm going to go through 2 nuggets with these things, you know? I think I could do, what is the record? What do you think the record is? Joey Chestnut ate 57 hot dogs in 57 minutes or something, or whatever it was. So now I'm curious about this. But if there is one thing that I know I could eat a lot of, by the way.
The records are timed, so I'm trying to find, like a longer time. Most of the records are 1 minute and 3 minute records.
Okay, what's a 1 minute record for nuggets?
Let's see.
I'm very curious. I'm going to say...
We got 19 nuggets in 60 seconds.
In. Done. I'll pour the whole thing in my mouth.
There's a drop.
So then we're not saucing. We're not saucing.
You don't have time, Joe.
No, there's only one way to eat. There's only one way to do that. Okay, here I am bringing up the Pringles can again, which we know what happened last time the Pringles can came. If I put 20 nuggets in a Pringles can, done. So I'll pour the whole thing in my mouth. I could pour that whole thing in my mouth. No sauce. Because I think if I actually dumped it in the contraption, we're not shop a local. They need contestants. Oh, I can't do donuts though. Oh, that would. Oh, the digestive. See the chicken nuggets. That would go down a little easier. Skaz, it's so funny that you know me off the air. So you know when I'm on the air, I'm very cautious at what I say. So I'll pour the whole thing in my mouth. No, think about it. You remember the Pringles can? Somebody pooped in it?
How could I forget, Joe? How could I forget?
Well, if you get to it, ready, set, go, you pour it in there, and then you just drink it. I could drink 20 nuggets. In a minute, under a minute, done.
Joe, we can do this on the show this week if you're so confident. It's very easy for us to get 20 nuggets.
It is.
Very easy.
It's very easy. There is a July 27th, there is an annual donut eating competition. They need 10 contestants to see how many donuts they can eat in 10 minutes. The record is 13 and 10.
Now we're getting questions in the chat. If you could eat chicken nuggets with any person in history, who would you want to eat them with?
Some nuggies. Let me tell you. Hey, who would you want to smoke marijuana with and eat chicken? Wade Boggs. Boy, he says, I don't eat the donuts anymore. It gets clogged right in here, you know? Bear claws right in here. Anyways, 13 donuts in 10 minutes, huh? I could crush some glazed, I'll tell you that much. Congdon's Donuts, where are they? Not sure I've been there before. I need to look this up. Donuts? Where are you? Oh, they're in Wells, Maine. 13 donuts in 10 minutes, huh? That's an hour to go through your stomach, then a few hours to the small intestine. Yeah, I'm out. I'm out. But I could do the nuggets, no doubt. Like, no doubt. Now, could I do the nuggets and do a 4-hour show? No. We'd have to do that at like the 9:45 break. Do it, and then we all go home.
Maybe 10:45 break.
Oh, it's whatever. Yeah. Maybe 10:35. I feel like a lot of people are I haven't read the chat once on this one, so I'll go back to do that in a minute here. But let's get your birthdays today. I know Christina sent over a few of these, so thank you. Chef Wolfgang Puck, speaking of food, 75 years old today. Angelica Houston, 73, Adams family. Kevin Bacon turned 66, and I have a Kevin Bacon story, but I have to save it for tomorrow night. I actually have two Kevin Bacon stories. I've shared one. I don't know if I ever told you this, but while I was waiting for a pizza to be delivered at a hotel one night, I was wondering why it was very quiet where I was. Little did I know I walked into a TV screening of a show, and I have a pizza in my hand, and everyone yelled at me. And do you know who was there? Ben Affleck and Kevin Bacon. Crewed Up, 56 years old today. Beck, 54. Kathleen Robertson, 51 years old. Milo from This Is Us, 47 years old. Sophia Bush, 42. Maya Hawk, 26 years old today. Is it Jemai from the Allman Brothers? I have something signed from him. Let's see what else. I know Christina sent a bunch of these over as well earlier today. I don't know if you have any, Skaz, birthdays today.
One Jeffrey Tambor from Arrested Development. I think he used to do the voiceover for Hollywood Squares as well.
Oh, okay. I know who that is.
We got, rest in peace, Toby Keith. It's Toby Keith's birthday today.
Oh, that's sad. Jaden Smith, 26 years old. Will Smith. That Karate Kid out.
Pursuit of Happiness. He's pretty good in that as a kid.
I will say that was a very good one.
Got a couple soccer players, Joe. Virgil van Dijk, the Netherlands, Liverpool guy. Heung-min Son, Tottenham. Maybe the best guy in the Premier League right now. Just in terms of being a good guy, most lovable guy. And then, Joe, how about, where was it? I saw...
Well, it's Sebastian Maniscalco's birthday.
Oh, there's a big one.
51. I believe he's been in the studio here before. You know where else I go when I look for birthdays? The YouTubers. I don't know who some of these people are.
How about Jack Lambert?
Ooh.
American Hall of Famer.
John D. Rockefeller. I think that is it. All right, there's your musings for tonight. I feel pretty refreshed. I don't think I have. I'm Joe Murray. We'll get to the headlines right now.
From the Town Fair Tire Studio, the Celtics, the Patriots, the Bruins, and the Revolution play here. WBC-FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station.
All right, really not much going on tonight. Red Sox were off. Celtics have re-signed J.D. Davis, and it's a two-way contract. Dan Hurley's getting paid from UConn, 6 years, $50 million. And, well, Cameron Sutton has been suspended 8 games for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. Headlines, they are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update is soon.
Boston's best sports talk. There's an app for that. Download the Sports Hub app for loads of stuff. Absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps. Or at 985sportshub.com.
I would just like to tell you that we have 4-minute breaks. Sometimes we have to pass a baton to go to the bathroom. So it's hard to get back to you. Join the chat, will you? I missed a lot of the chat. What was going on in there, Skaz? I know you were always... I see Riz in there already. That's a lot of nuggets. I ate 33 out of 50 once, Riz said. Wendy's nuggets I can crush. They're soft. Right? If we're talking fast food, Wendy's, I would... You know, they what do they give you, 5? You get a 6-piece from McDonald's. What do you get, a 5-piece from Wendy's? No shot. They're soft. They're crispy. Done. You know what else you could do? You could smush 20 nuggets and just eat it and pop it. I would do that.
Is that considered tampering, though?
I mean, if I shove 20 nuggets down my throat, it shouldn't matter if I tampered or not. Yeah, did I shove them down my throat or not?
You have someone blending, get a blender and blend up 50 nuggets.
Just no lettuce. Oh. Did Pez call? I'm sorry, Mr. Pez. There's real sports callers on the line. Should we do it? Just kind of having fun talking about... Ooh. All right, Skaz, you go up to the window. They ask you what sauce you want. What's the first choice?
I mean, I personally think the best sauce in the game right now is the Polynesian sauce from Chick-fil-A. That's it's kind of like a sweet and sour, I guess. But that's number one for me right now. Gotta be.
Depends on where we're going.
There we go.
I think I'm a barbecue sauce number 1 guy. But it depends on where I'm going. If it's Wendy's, though, they got a damn good ranch. Not sure if you guys have ever tried it, but spectacular. John is in Hyde Park. We missed you earlier, sir. How are you tonight?
Good. So I was just wondering what your thoughts are on if it would even make sense for the Bruins to maybe try to get the Celtics. I'll hang up and listen to
John. What part of Hyde Park are you from?
Right here by right borderline of Dedham.
Oh, so you're near Reedville.
Yes.
You're the Reedville side. I was the other side.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's good. It's quiet for now.
Yeah. How's Tuto these days?
I'm sorry?
How's Tuto Italiano?
I don't know about that.
You haven't been down? You haven't got a sub at Tuto, bro?
No.
All right.
No.
You type in Tuto Italiano. You tell Emilio I sent you, okay?
Okay, perfect.
Right.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you. The Bruins can't afford the Celtics. How about that? We have Quincy in Caraco? Is that how I say it, Quincy?
Correct. I'm calling internationally from the Caribbean, Curacao.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you listening.
Yes, thank you. I discovered your show actually over YouTube.
Thank you.
And yeah, and I listen almost every single week when I get the chance.
I really appreciate that, sir. And I'm looking up Caraco right now. What's the weather like today?
It's always summer here. It's always between 28 Celsius to 30, and it's always sunny.
Mm-hmm. And you're the island to the right of Aruba.
Correct.
Gotcha. So, what are your thoughts on soccer?
Yes, I do have a question for you. I just want to listen to your opinion because I have been following New England Revolution for a long time now, since Caleb Porter have moved in. And I would like to know your opinion based on the latest matches and the last game that they had between Seattle. And if you do see New England Revolution maybe having a chance to getting into the playoffs.
I do think so. Now, I know they struggled against Seattle, as you mentioned, but they went on a little run, right? They beat Vancouver. They took down Cincinnati as well. They did struggle against Columbus, but bounced back in their next game. And as you mentioned, the Seattle game. But this Saturday, Orlando City, it's going to be interesting. I think they can, personally. I know they had a really slow start. They have a really good coach. I think they can, if you're asking my humble opinion. But at the same time, it's been a struggle for them all year long. But what made you a Revolution fan? I'm very curious about that. Is it Coach Porter?
It's really the style of playing, you know. Actually, I was following Caleb Porter from the Columbus Crew, and after he got replaced and come all the way to here, I do prefer the way of soccer that he do, because like the way he plays the ball, like he go all the way from the left side from the field and then cross the ball all the way, change the way of playing, you know. And it's always a style of playing that catch the opponent by surprise, you know. And it's kind of a play that always opens space into the back of the opponent.
I'm glad to hear you say you like the style of American football. You don't hear you don't hear that often. I do have a question for you. Is there a Wendy's in Caraco?
Yes, there's only one at the local airport.
How many chicken nuggets do you think you could eat from a Wendy's?
Chicken nuggets. Actually, they do sell us like a bundle that you need to buy like the hamburger, and you get the nuggets and also cold cola, but it's about like $11.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's very much worth it, because compared to all the franchises that we have here, I do prefer Wendy's.
That's great to know. I'm glad to hear that. What would you say is the food of choice in Caraco?
I cannot really answer that.
Curacao, excuse me.
Yeah. I do like fast food a lot, you know. So
you're a vegetables guy.
No, fast food.
Oh, fast food. So no vegetables.
Not really, because I do work very close to the airport, and at least once a week I do go to the local Wendy's to eat.
Well, I love that.
If you look at, I haven't been in America yet, but if you look at the vegetables quality, at least here in Curacao, that you get by Wendy's, it's very much high compared to the other brands, you know.
Yep. Now, I obviously you're in Curacao. Did you know that in Boston, Massachusetts, there is a town called Quincy?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, there is a town here. It's called Quincy. It's after a famous person named John Quincy Adams. And yes, so you're named Quincy in the town of Quincy. I feel like if you were going to just pull out a map, you know, if you ever saw Coming to America, it's a movie. He wanted to meet his wife. He went to Queens. Well, in this situation, you can come from Curacao to Massachusetts, and you could go to Quincy, like your name.
Okay. I will do it this year.
Okay. Well,
and I will for sure come by visit you guys at the studio.
That would be,
because
you know what, that would be
as
awesome.
I mentioned, I'm also a radio host here on the island.
Really? Can we listen online?
Yeah.
Can we listen online?
Yeah, sure.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna Google you. Can I do that?
Yes, you can Google my name. I will put my first name and last name into, and also my website into the chat.
Oh, you're in the chat. Thank you so much, Quincy. Curacao. I want to get that right. I didn't mean to say Caraco. It's Curacao. I want to get that. But Quincy, you are welcome anytime, sir, on the Joe Murray Show here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Wow.
The Joe Show International. It's a great way to come back on a Monday after the holiday.
I kept calling it Caraco, and I apologize to everybody in Curacao.
Soft C.
That's right. And I have never really been near there.
Sedena Raffaello is from Curacao, I believe.
Really? So I have been to the Dominican. I have never been. As I see it, it's Aruba. So I've been to the Dominican. It's got to be hot there, man. Oh, I fried my head when I went to the Dominican. No, I really, honest to God, I almost fried an egg on my head just because I was that hot. It was really, wow. Wow, imagine going on a road trip there, Skaz. That looks like is this the furthest communication we have had?
Hawaii's probably further, technically, right?
Well, you're right. It is, actually.
We have our buddy in Alaska that calls in as well from time to time.
Yeah, actually, now that I'm looking at the map,
it's probably not too far of a flight.
It is probably that is closer than Hawaii, no doubt. Alaska, Going worldwide, baby. Out on Pitbull. All right, we got to go break. I'm Joe Murray here at the Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way. Sports Hub.
Sports Hub. I have been LOLing by myself in the studio. I can't believe I said to that man, like the movie Coming to America, he wanted to find his wife, so he wanted to find his queen. Opened up the globe and went to Queens. Now I wish I asked him about donuts. I feel like I should have asked him about that. Anyways, we did look up our friend Quincy from Curacao. And he has a website, and he's a radio host. You know what? Maybe we should call into his show some night. What do you think?
I'm down. I'm in.
Like, what would Joe from Boston, Massachusetts?
Joe from Hyde Park.
Yeah. He'll think I'm from the UK. By the way, Julian Edelman did what is he doing nowadays, by the way?
Names with games.
Oh, is that what it is?
Or games with names.
He was talking about how when they went to London, they hated the food. He's like, yeah, we went through Hyde Park. And I'm like, well, he did say Hyde Park. Just not the one that I know of. What, Skaz, what haven't we done? What do we need to do? Do we need to do anything else? I'm not saying let's wrap it up and go home like Leon Poe.
Leon Poe.
That was remember Phil Jackson? That was a major insult. Like, you want to talk about just disrespect, calling a guy Leon Poe as he's dropping 20 on you in the NBA Finals as a rookie? That's ultimate disrespect. Oh, did you see the Wow. I'm looking at Quincy right now. Thank you, sir. Professional DJ. Man, it looks beautiful there, huh? But the vegetables, I gotta try those.
Fit right in on the Joe Show. No vegetables, just fast food.
This from Adam Himmelsbach of the Globe. Tatum said that after he signed his extension on Saturday, Coach Mazzulla couldn't help himself. Joe was already trying to draw up plays for next season, and I was like, yo, Joe, blank that. We just won the championship. I would like to tell the coach the same thing sometimes. Oh, we didn't get to this, by the way. We could save it for tomorrow, but it's about a 40-yard dash.
Yes, one Brian Dayball. I should have done this at the end of In or Out, but we'll get to it here. Why not, Joe?
Why not?
Why not? So during the NFL Combine, Giants had a little camera in their booth on Brian Dayball and Joe Schoen. And Brian Dayball was caught on a mic saying he could run a 7-second 40-yard dash. And they proceeded to watch Romeo Odunze run a 4.47. And Schoen says, so you think you can be less than 3 seconds behind him? To which Dayball says, yes, without a doubt. So, Joe, do you think Brian Dayball could run a 7-second 40-yard dash?
That is very slow. I've seen 400-pound men run 5.6 40s. And it's not slow. Right? You're 400 pounds and you're running 5.6. It's not slow.
Brian Dayball is 49 years old.
He lost a lot of weight. Did you see that?
He did. He looks young.
I'm going to say he can run under a 7. I'm going to go like 6.45. I mean, now we're going to find out. Can we bet on it?
Someone's going to have to do this.
Can we bet on it?
Can we get him and Rich Eisen lined up next to each other?
That would be cool. That would be cool. So my 40-yard running days are over. I ran a 5.13. I forget what it was. 5 and 1 and change or whatever. I was a lineman though. I mean, Derek Knight of Zavarian ran a 4.3 40 and then went to Boston College and broke their records. He's the fastest man I've ever seen. JP Kamel, who played with him, I think ran like a 4.5 or 4 whatever. 4.3 speed is the fastest I've ever seen. I know. Did Deion Sanders run a 4.2? No, Chris Johnson, I think, did, right? Here's the question, Skaz. When it comes to the 40-yard dash, can you make the 40 yards? Because, like, I don't know, man. At my age, I think I could still get down in the stance and fire off. But after that 15 yards, man, I might tap out.
Might be worried about like the next day more if I'm Brian Daboll. That next day might be a rude awakening.
Yeah. Your hamstrings, when you haven't like worked your hamstrings in years and then you use them again, you need like 2 weeks to recover. It's not funny. And that's what I always say. Like, it's funny. You ever like play hoops or play like sports and you're like, I still got it. The next day you can't move. You can't. It's impossible.
We had a nice little it's like a not a full half, but about a half court basketball set up in the backyard of where we were staying this past week. There were some knockout games, some 3-on-3 games going on until about 2:30 in the morning, and we were definitely feeling it the next morning on the golf course.
Yeah.
It was a quick turnaround from playing basketball at 2:30 in the morning to teeing off at 9 a.m.
What's that football that whistles?
Oh, the Nerf, like the.
I was throwing that at the beach one day, and my arm was sore the next day. And yes, I'm out of shape. Okay, so no, you'd be sore too. Plus, we got to die for the thing, right? I mean, you got to give it an attempt. Some guy, David, in the chat goes, "Yeah, I definitely need a Marlboro Red in my mouth." That's true.
Little Len Dawson.
What was that? Old school? When Vince Vaughn's holding the thing, but he's got the cigarette in his mouth? Oh, I love that. Thanks, Gravy, for hanging out tonight. Chuck Olson's in there. Riz said torn ACL. I could go 40 yards in 40 seconds. Oh, yeah. What would Einbein? You know what, Einbein? I'll tell you this much. I think you could go the 40 yards, bro. I think you could go the 40 yards. I don't know how many noises your fart leg will make. Maybe 40. For those who don't know, Einbein listens every day. And he still walks his dogs, even though he had a medical emergency where he had to lose one of his legs. He is still there every night, here every night, walks his dogs so he can listen to In or Out in Musings. Do you believe that? That's dedication right there. That is dedication. All right, we're up against it. We really are. I guess we got our final headline of the night here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
Boston had it easy. It's not their fault. Not their fault. I don't care. They won. However, I would have liked them to see them.
New York was banged up.
Yeah, New York was banged up. So, but they won it. They won it square, but there's still a lot of doubters.
So
Now,
your reasoning is Boston's still very talented, but their road will likely not be as easy next year.
their road was too easy. So when their road stiffens up and they don't win, then we could then that statement will be verified. Now, if they win next year with all these teams healthy, got to give them their respect.
Easy. Everybody was hurt. So I won't give them respect until they do it again. That was an eye roll if you felt the movements. That was me. Fine, the path was easy, but you know what? When you're the best team in the league, remember Scad, remember that article we referenced? You know? Being the best team in the league gives you the easiest path. And I don't want to cross sports. And I believe on Fridays, guys, which I don't know if we've announced this yet, but on Friday, we are going to be on the Felger and Maz show. In with Felger, not with Maz. Maybe Jim's here. I don't know. Skaz is going to be there, and I'm going to be there. And I'm sure that whatever we have just said, or whatever I have just said, I don't want to put words in your mouth yet, Skaz. But whatever has been said in the last 3 minutes that I have talked about this, it's going to be, Shaq says the road was easy. It was easy, but no, Joe and Skaz. But it can be true that also if you have the best record in the league, you get the easiest path. And we haven't talked about this yet. But if the Celtics happen to beat the 76ers this year with a healthy Joel Embiid and Paul George and Caleb Martin and whoever else they want to sign, Drummond, whoever else, will they get credit for that? Will they get credit for beating them?
How about just the fact that the Celtics' path was so easy that, and I know we're not supposed to do this, Joe, we're not supposed to talk about predictions because everybody gets predictions wrong, but if the Celtics' path was so easy, why did Shaq pick the Mavericks?
Oh, that is true. But Skaz, green teamer.
And I'll agree with Mike on this one. I will say predictions are useless for the most part.
We all have them.
Yes, exactly. But where I think predictions are useful is when the predictions become a majority, when everyone is picking the same thing. Then I think you get, Joe, a story, a narrative, a chronicle. Okay. Whatever you want to call it. So if you want to say predictions are useless, fine. Okay, people are wrong all the time. When that many people are wrong, when it's the NBA Finals and you want to give me your prediction, but then say the path was too easy, you can't have it both ways. You can't say the Mavericks were going to beat the Celtics and then say, well, the Celtics' path was too easy. It's got to be one or the other.
It's like saying you want to fight the nerds, but then using analytics for your argument. Is that fair to say?
I would consider that fair.
Because I think we discussed the Red Sox tonight without any war. Or door. Or whatever. Can I give you another take? Paul George is overrated. Give me DeMar DeRozan all day at 35 years old over Paul George. I think that Paul George is a really good player. I think Paul George is an upgrade for the 76ers. I think they're a better team. But I've seen him try now multiple times to win, and he can't. And again, how many people have joined Joel Embiid and have tried to... Like the likes of Jimmy Butler and Al Horford, you mean to tell me those aren't good names? There's been good names there. Right? Ben Simmons didn't work out.
James Harden
didn't work out. So, I don't know. If you ask me, I'd go DeMar DeRozan over Paul George. I know one's 34, the other's 35. Can I give you the numbers quickly? Paul George just got a 4-year, $212 million contract. His career points per game, 20.8. Rebound 6, assists 3. Do you know DeMar DeRozan's 34 years old? You know his career points? 21.2. Rebounds, 4.5. Assists, 4. He got a 3-year, $74 million contract.
Well, I think the big difference is when healthy, Paul George is still a very good defender, and I don't think you can say the same for DeRozan.
Okay. I'd rather the guy that's 3 years, $74 million, that's a killer inside the arc.
A Celtics killer, too.
True. So, did I think the blueprint years ago was Paul George to Boston? Yep. Have I watched enough Paul George where I think he can't win in the playoffs? Yes. And now he's joining who? There's a lot on the line in Philadelphia this year. The only one thing they do have, though, I'll give him this, Nick Nurse. You brought up Paul George in defense. That could be a difference.
How about there's one guy on Team USA who hasn't been to a conference finals?
Is it Joel Embiid?
It would be your MVP, Joel Embiid.
And just so I know, they've been to how many finals? How many finals have the 76ers been to?
That would be 0.
Okay. And the Miami Heat have been to how many? 2, right?
I believe it's 2, yes.
And the Celtics have been to how many?
I think it's 3.
3. And they won?
1.
1. Okay. Just for accuracy's sake.
That's all we're trying to be.
Just factual.
Fair.
And actual. That's from a TLC song. And how about DeMar DeRozan to Sacramento? Him and Sabonis with Fox?
They can score. I just don't know if they can stop anybody. They'll be fun. Hey, as a late night guy with League Pass, when I get home, I'll be watching, but I don't know if they can stop anybody. They might be an over team next year, Joe, if we're doing a way too early look. They might be an over team.
My guy, Dario Saric.
Yeah, tough weekend for him. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I wanted him, and he went to Golden State.
Yeah, and then he got beat up.
Oh, yeah. Is there any more? What do you think of the Olympic team, by the way? They should win it, right?
You'd have to think so.
What do we have odds on that? Can we bet?
I think they're like minus 400 or something like that. I think maybe even more.
Betting on the Olympics, bro. Oh, yeah. Oh, there's something at stake. That's like, is betting the Olympics is like super degenerate, right? Like
Well, I think it really depends on the sport too. At least with these guys, they're pros. We know them, but a lot of them is amateurs. So yes, I would put that in the degenerate category.
Who do you think could put down the most chicken nuggets in sports?
In all of it's got to be a lineman.
Any sport.
Got to be a lineman, right?
I would have put Jason Kelsey up there. I don't know why.
The kid on the Jets, they got one giant on the line there.
Oh, what about Keon Coleman?
He's a big boy.
It's going to be someone that you would never expect. The biggest eaters I've ever known are like you ever said, like me, I'm a big guy, right? I don't need like a 4-course meal. I don't.
Well, I mean, just look at Chestnut or Kobayashi or, these guys aren't huge.
See Cooper Flagg today?
Looked good.
That was cool.
Looked really good.
All right. Anything else we didn't do today? We did the, anything we didn't do, we'll do tomorrow, I guess. As we're back here tomorrow night. What didn't I write here? Buyers, sellers, Celtics owners. Shaq's out on the Celtics. Oh, we didn't do the Patriots stuff. We'll do this tomorrow night, but just a quick tease. We're going to see some pretty good quarterbacks in the preseason. We're going to see some good quarterbacks. Bryce Young, right? And then you get Jaden Daniels. And then Joe Burrow, week 1. Who's texting? I don't know. I feel like something's up, Skaz. When you're looking at your phone smiling like that, I feel like something happened.
Nothing yet, Joe. We're working on stuff.
Something's working, huh? All right, we'll wrap up the show on the other side. You got something, or we'll just do it? Okay, we'll do it on
Not
the other
yet.
side.
Maybe tomorrow night.
All right. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub. Right now, Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
He was covered by Drew Holiday. We have a lot of people in there tonight, huh? A lot of new names. Appreciate you. Carousel, huh? Man. We're maybe we should get one of those boards, Skaz.
Put like a pin or something?
Yeah, a pin every time somebody calls from somewhere. We've got Hawaii, Alaska, now Curacao.
Plenty of California.
Done. Yep.
Texas.
I think I'm going to do that. Listen, the Boston Championship Big Board, that's somebody else's. I want to get a pin for every time we get somebody who calls from somewhere. And now I'm wondering where. I mean, YouTube reaches everywhere, right? Where's the furthest place away from us? Would you say it's... Wow, now Joe versus the map. Where is the furthest place away from us?
The furthest place away from Boston, according to a very, very quick Google search, is the southwest coast of Australia.
So Australia. What about New Zealand? That's very far, too. Well, anyways, I'm going to get a map. That's when I want to do that.
We had a couple Australianers on the bachelor party. Maybe I'll have them call in one night.
Obviously, you went to a bachelor party. Here's a question I have asked, and we got 1 minute to go. Did anybody take pictures?
We got a ton of pictures. A ton. We have a shared album, and Joe, so my buddy who's getting married, his fiance got him a gift for the first night. This is a very wife, girlfriend gift. She got him 7 or 8 disposable cameras labeled for each event we were going to do. So each golf course we were going to, went to Summerfest a couple nights, and she wrote, take this camera here.
Did you use them?
We used them. We took, sometimes it was a major get 10 pictures out of the way quick, but no, we put them to good use. So
you know what my buddies from home would have done?
Not used them.
Right in the barrel.
Right in the barrel.
Right in the barrel.
No, I'm very excited, a little nervous to see some of those developed pictures, but it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, with the internet these days,
Yeah, apparently they don't even you get the disposable camera thing, but you also get like an SD card. They put them all so you can have them forever. Yes, it's a little scary, but it should be some good film on there.
Or out on cameras at a bachelor party. Maybe we'll save that one for later in the week, as Christina will make her debut Wednesday. We're back here tomorrow night. Thank you, everybody in chat. Skaz, great job. Christina as well.